And good evening, Wildcat fans. Welcome to another night of Sulphur Springs Wildcat football. Tonight we're in Mount Pleasant, playing the Mount Pleasant Tigers here at Sam Parker Field. John Mark will be doing our play-by-play. I'm Chad Young with your color commentary. And, of course, we have Matt Jansen on the camera tonight. We've got a couple of other surprises, but we'll get to those in just a little bit. John Mark, good evening.
Chad, great to be in Mount Pleasant tonight. A lot more pleasant as far as the weather is concerned, of the temperature than it was 1 week ago tonight in Jacksonville.
Absolutely. 88 degrees is what my phone says. Now, almost dropped down to 86.
Right.
So much better. But we are in a little enclosed press box tonight. A lot of glass and not a lot of outdoor sound. So we're going to try to get more of that in, but a little bit of a challenge. As we always say, there's no place like home when we go back to Gerald Prim Stadium, and we have the wonderful facility that we do in Sulphur Springs that the Sulphur Springs Independent School District supplies for us. But nothing wrong with the facility here. It's just we don't have outside sound that we normally like to have.
So that may be something that the fans wonder about as we go along, and we'll try to make reference to it. If you don't hear the crowd, it's not because there's not a crowd here.
Oh, yeah, and as I look across there, the visiting side there, we're on the home side tonight here at Sam Parker Field, and we can see the visitors side over there. We've got at least 250 Wildcat fans over there. The band's all ready, and of course, the drill team is on the field getting ready for the Wildcats to come out on the field.
Well, each of these teams won last week in the opening week of play. The Wildcats, of course, beat Jacksonville 29-16. Mount Pleasant played Pittsburgh, and they won 38-14. Now, they were playing two classes down last week against Pittsburgh. It's a 3A Division I team, I believe, and so take that into consideration. But each team 1-0, and of course, you're familiar with the Wildcats, and Brady Driver had a great week last week. The quarterback at 6'1", 190, the senior, passed for 146 yards and 2 touchdowns, completing 8 of 17 passes, but he rushed for 136 yards on 15 carries and had 2 touchdowns. So really a terrific opening game for Brady Driver last week. Sky Lewis had 5 catches for 54 yards and 2 touchdowns, 1 of 17 yards, 1 of 31 yards. Wildcats got good production from their running backs last week. D. Rose Luke carried for 38 yards, averaged 5.4 yards per carry. Cameron Jefferson had 44 yards, averaged 4.9 yards per carry. But for whatever reason last week, Malachi Rowland did not play. We did not see him last week, but he is suited up and appears he will go tonight. Yep. So he is the number 1 back for the Wildcats, and we're looking forward to seeing him tonight.
Yeah, I saw him down there warming up as your Sulphur Springs Wildcats take the field, and they're over there on the visitor side selecting their captains. They'll be coming out here in just a moment. And we're going to try to pick up the invocation, the prayer here at the ball game.
Dear Lord, thank you for being able to gather here today. Thank you for blessing these words with the capability to compete. Lord, I pray that today you would keep everyone safe from harm and injury. Lord, throughout this evening, guide our hearts to be respectful and honoring to our competitors, and help us glorify you in everything we do. Amen.
And now we'll expect the national anthem here. Oh, right here on our side. John Mark, we have, looks like the Mount Pleasant Choir going to do their duty.
Nancy Vines, the Mount Pleasant High School Choir will sing our national anthem.
we apologize for the low volume of the choir, but a great rendition of the national anthem there as the teams are retreating back to their sides and getting all ready for this game. Kickoff here in just a few minutes at Sam Parker Stadium here in Mount Pleasant. Should be it's a very nice field, John Mark.
Artificial turf field, which is what you see in most of these high school stadiums, all the way down to sometimes the 2A level these days, so no surprise there. There is a track around the field here, which is, again, not unusual, although at the Tomato Bowl last week there was no track. But that puts the fans back a little bit further away from the field than they might otherwise be. But the stadium built here in 2002, so it's about 21 years old now and seats over 7,000 folks. And we will not have a capacity crowd here tonight, but we certainly have a good turnout.
The captains for the Wildcats coming out on the field for the coin toss, and we got number 12, 21, and 56, John Mark. So, and then...
So Braxton Wall and Bo Loggins, and that would also be Isaac Alexander, the captains for Sulphur Springs tonight.
Right, and then we're waiting for the coin toss, and we'll see how that always goes. They're explaining, this is the part I love, John Mark, it looks like the officials explaining to the guys of how a coin toss works. So, yes. And
take nothing for granted.
That's right. And looks like the Wildcats won the toss again for a second week in a row. They're going to defer, and they're going to kick off this first kickoff, and the Tigers will receive. The Wildcats be going left to right for us here, and so we'll be getting ready here just any moment for the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff.
You're going to hear the name of Mason McMinn a lot tonight from Mount Pleasant. He is their starting quarterback. He's 6'2", 170, a senior. Had a great week, a great night last week against Pittsburgh. 18 of 25 passing, that's 76% for 181 yards and 2 touchdowns. Had 2 interceptions. Now, that is one thing about Brady Driver last week, no interceptions.
Right.
So take that into account. But Mason McMinn, certainly outstanding quarterback. He does not tend to run as much as Brady Driver does. He carried the ball 6 times for 19 yards and 1 touchdown last week. They spread the ball around a lot. They're going to throw the ball to a lot of different receivers. You're going to hear a lot of different names as far as their receivers are concerned. Their top running back is Tony Grant. He is a 5'6" sophomore. He had 84 yards rushing last week against Pittsburgh, 9.3 yards per carry, and 1 touchdown against Pittsburgh. So they're going to throw a lot of bubble screens. They're going to get the ball out of the hand of Mason McMinn very quickly, and that's the way they're going to go about it. So the Sulphur Springs Wildcats have it teed up. Eric Rodriguez.
Yep, he's back ready to kick off. We've got number 0 all the way deep back for the Mount Pleasant Tigers, and there it goes very deep all the way into the end zone. Man, John Mark, you were talking last week about the leg on Mr. Rodriguez there for the Wildcats, and he's opened up this game showing exactly what he's got by kicking it all the way back, and so the Mount Pleasant Tigers will take it up on the 25.
There's a touchback, and you don't see the touchback too often in high school football, at least at this level of high school football.
Right.
So he's not very big, but he's got a strong leg, I will say that. And let's see, he goes, well, we don't have the heights and weights on the roster, do we? That's not too surprising.
Eric Rodriguez, been a pretty big young man there, and got a little bit of help from the wind, but not much.
So first down from the 25-yard line for Mount Pleasant, moving right to left. McMinn takes the snap. Quick pass to the flat on the far side is complete, and but no gain on that play, I would say. Back to the line of scrimmage and not much more than that.
A great tackle by Braxton Wall.
Okay, good.
Up. Yeah, so he did. Well, they're going to give him about a yard and a half on that, and so they're going to call that 2nd and 8, it looks like.
Snap to McMinn. This is McMinn faking to Grant, and McMinn keeps it himself and is down the sideline over on the far side and into Sulphur Springs territory, or will he be? Maybe just shy of the 50. He will have the first down for the Tigers easily.
By quite a lot. So, yeah, they're right at midfield there. We'll see exactly where they're going to spot that ball.
Although we have a flag down.
Yeah, we do. Way on the other side of the field there. They're going to call call this one back. So obviously it's against the Tigers. And
holding.
So, from the line of scrimmage there, they're going to mark it off 10 yards, and that's going to make it 2nd and 18 for the Mount Pleasant Tigers. They're going to get that down back, and it's going to be 2nd down.
Takes them back to the 17-yard line. So, 2nd down and 18. McMahon, half roll to his left, under pressure, and is going to be sacked back inside the 10-yard line. And for the Wildcats, that is T.J. Bolden.
Yes, a great tackle by T.J. Bolden, but a flag does fall out of the pocket high into the sky from one of the officials. It may, and the quarterback's helmet came off during the tackle, so we're going to look for the call here. The line judge on the other side of the field visiting with the Wildcat coach.
Personal foul, face mask penalty against the Wildcats.
So that's going to give them 15 back and probably a 1st down. And so that's going to be all the way up to the 32-yard line.
Automatic 1st down.
Absolutely.
So 1st and 10 for Mount Pleasant from the 32. Ball on the far hash mark as they move to our left. Snap to McMahon. He backpedals, eludes a rusher, and throws the ball to the sideline over on the far side. And I thought he was throwing that away, but as it turned out, then Jonathan Turner, the senior receiver, had a play on the ball there at about the Sulphur Springs 47-yard line, could not bring it down.
Some fantastic coverage by your Wildcats there. They were all over that. He was scrambling. The quarterback for the Tigers scrambling. I thought he was throwing it away too, but he tried to make a play out of that and did not. So that's going to make it 2nd and 10 for those Tigers, and they're on their own 32-yard line.
Mount Pleasant up to the line. No score early on. First possession for either team. McMahon handing off to Tony Grant. Big hole up the middle. Grant cuts it back, goes to the outside. And Grant will have the 1st down. As he's very elusive, and he's to the Sulphur Springs 48-yard line.
Yes, they're going to be in Wildcat territory now, so they're going to start their 1st and 10 on the Wildcat 48. So, and very quick offense here. They're coming right back up to the line of scrimmage and getting ready to snap a play. They're showing pass.
19 yards.
They hand it off.
19 yards on the gain to Grant. Here's a draw play to Tony Grant. And Grant brought down after a short gain to the 45-yard line. And Zach Thomas. He got
3 yards. Yep.
Zach Thomas on the stop for Sulphur Springs, senior defensive lineman. Gain to the, I think I said 45-yard line.
Yep.
So 2nd down and 7 for Mount Pleasant. 2 wideouts to either side. Fake to Grant. McMahon passing in the flat and caught and bumped out of bounds for Sulphur Springs by Malachi Clayton. And Dylan Bennett made the catch there for the Mount Pleasant Tigers. So this is 3rd down and 2 for Mount Pleasant. McMahon, empty backfield. Throws it out. This is caught. And that is Tony Grant, who has the catch over on the far side. And he will have the 1st down as he is brought down inside the Sulphur Springs 40-yard line at about the 36.
Yes, they're going to move those chains. The Tigers marching down the field deep into Wildcat territory. A little deeper. They're on the 31-yard line. And so, the 36-yard line.
Drive started at the Mount Pleasant 25-yard line. This is now the 7th play of the drive. No score. McMahon takes the snap, and he will run it himself. He's kind of surprising us with his running ability here early in the ball game. Gets to the 25-yard line. And on the tackle for Sulphur Springs, that's Nathan Andrews, a junior.
They're going to move the chains on that. We're going to give him that forward progress for a 1st down and move it all the way down to the 26-yard line, deep into Wildcat territory.
1st down, Mount Pleasant. The drive continues. McMahon backpedaling, passing into the flat on the far side, and the receiver giving up ground, and then finally going to be tackled back near the line of scrimmage. So that is a loss, actually behind the line of scrimmage, all the way back to the 30-yard line.
Yeah, so good defense by the Wildcats. They try to break the momentum of these Mount Pleasant Tigers.
Behind the chains now, the Mount Pleasant Tigers. This is 2nd down and 13. McMahon taking the snap in the shotgun, rolling out to his left under a tremendous rush by the Wildcats. Gets it away. I think he was in the pocket there, so that's not going to be called intentional grounding. But all over him was T.J. Bolden, whose name we've already said a couple of times tonight.
So he's already having a great game, and there's only a few minutes off the clock. 8 minutes, 33 seconds left in this first quarter. Your Wildcats tied with the Tigers at 0, but the Mount Pleasant Tigers having their first drive, and now one of the officials dropped a flag there. So
sure did, back at the 43-yard line.
He's talking to the other official out there. At least we are on the home side tonight, so we'll get the benefit of the call. Here it comes.
The referee is Justin Woodson tonight. We'll run over the remainder of the, or run through the names, a better way to say that, of our officials when we get the opportunity. But Justin Woodson is the referee, the gentleman you see in the white cap.
Those officials kind of getting in the groove here early in the season. We saw that last week as they were trying to try to sort some things out, making the game a little bit longer.
That was a long game last week.
Here comes the call. Well, they're going to come. Yep. Oh,
they did call intentional grounding.
They did call it.
I'm surprised by that.
Yes.
And an eligible man downfield.
Right. Double trouble there.
Well, actually, now as I think about it, the rule is if he's in the pocket and he throws it away, that's when you get the grounding.
Right.
And when you get out of the pocket and you throw it away, then you're excused for that. So I guess they considered him still in the pocket.
They're going to back him way up. It's going to be 3rd and 25 for those Tigers. 8:33 left in this first quarter. 0-0. Your Wildcats trying to stop these Tigers and get the ball and make their drive down the field, but got to get the defense off the field first and get Brady Driver out there. So they're still talking about it out there. I'm not sure what they're trying to sort out.
Penalty is back to the Sulphur Springs 42-yard line, and 3rd and 25 coming up.
Yeah, that makes it all the way. They've got to get all the way to the 16 to get a first down.
And this will be a 3rd down play. But again, conference going on between the officials. Justin Woodson is the referee, Tommy Hooper the umpire. The head linesman is Ezra Hine. Line judge is Pat Smith. Field judge is Sean Droddy. Back judge is Zach Hudson. And the side judge is Tracy Giddens. A lot of these conferences, as Chad already told you last week at Jacksonville.
Yep.
I'll tell you another issue may be, I've read that there's a shortage of officials.
Right.
And these guys may not have worked together. Some of them may be relatively new.
Right.
And they're still getting some things sorted out just simply because there's just not that many experienced officials to go around. And right now they're talking with Joe Cluley, and he is the head coach at Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, they're still explaining why it was intentional grounding. But
well, he was. I don't think there's any doubt he was in the pocket.
And he was pretty wrapped up. It was obvious he was trying to get rid of the ball there. So
now they may have also felt, Mount Pleasant may have felt that there was a receiver in the vicinity.
Right.
There certainly was an offensive lineman in the vicinity. Of course, he's not an eligible receiver.
But the ball stays where it is. Looks like they're going to snap it from that point. It's backed up all the way to the 42-yard line on the Wildcat side. So the Tigers have got a big play to make here. I'm guessing they're probably going to pass it, John Mark. 3rd and 25.
Still in the spread, two on either side of the field as wideouts. Back to the left of McMahon. McMahon over the middle. He's got his man inside the 20-yard line. And that is Dylan Bennett who makes the catch. Slanting in from left to right, and there's a first down for Mount Pleasant on 3rd and 25.
Yeah, that was, we knew that pass was coming. Everybody knew that pass was coming, but that receiver was very quick up the middle and snatched that ball, and it's going to be 1st and 10 all the way down on the Sulphur Springs. Looks like about the 13, John Mark.
Handoff goes to Grant, going left. Grant in traffic, dragged down after a short gain, or perhaps no gain at all, and that is Laren Vaughn, who had 47 tackles last season for Sulphur Springs, making the tackle.
They're going to give him 1 yard on that.
Gets to the 12-yard line. 2nd down and 9 for Mount Pleasant. No score. First possession of the ball game. Grant going left. Gets out of a tackle. Still on his feet as he gets close to the 5-yard line. They'll say the 6.
Yes, he certainly gave a second and third effort on that to get down, and that was number 2 on the tackle there. So he got drugged down. It's going to make it a short.
Grayson Hardy on the tackle.
Thank you. It's going to make a short 3rd down here.
Still some discussion among the officials here. The ball would be placed at the 6-yard line.
Yes.
I do not see a flag. Yes, there is a flag down near the goal line.
Okay, and that's going to, I see it now. A lot of yellow at that end of the goal line there is the Mount Pleasant Tigers, of course, black and gold.
And they indicate
looks
an
like it's going to be
unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against Sulphur Springs.
Yes, so that's going to half the distance to the goal and make it an automatic first down, I would guess.
Yep.
And so that's going to put the ball about on the 3-yard line, and it's going to be 1st and goal on the 3 for those Mount Pleasant Tigers. An old, long-standing rivalry between the Wildcats and the Tigers. We'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Let's see. Yes, they do put it at the 3. Mm-hmm. Would have been 3rd and about 5 from the 6-yard line or thereabouts. So 1st and goal from the 3 for Mount Pleasant. Officials step in just before the ball is snapped here, and we have another delay.
More discussion.
Again, no score here. This is the first possession of the ball game. Mount Pleasant has driven from its own 25-yard line with the opening kickoff. And now at the Sulphur Springs 3-yard line, this will be the 14th play of the drive coming up.
They got the chains and the sticks sorted out over there on the other side because they were still, it's 1st and goal, so the other down, just the down marker needs to be there, not the other sticks, and so they moved those off and getting those.
Snap to McMahon. McMahon, step to his right, cuts back, lowers his shoulder. He's across the goal line for a Mount Pleasant touchdown.
Yeah, so that was a big, long drive there. They started out on the 25, but they had gotten pushed back at one point, I think,
yep.
John Mark.
Yep.
And so they marched all the way down the field, putting 6 points on the board. With 7:24 left in this first quarter, the Wildcats are down 6-0. We await the extra point.
Well, you remember there was a 3rd and 25.
Yeah, I remember
they made
that.
32 yards on that pass to Bennett.
Yeah.
Here's the extra point kick coming up. And the kick is good. So Sulphur Springs down here after the extra point kick by Ashad Smith. 7-0 with 7:24 left to go in the first quarter.
We'll take a break and we'll be back with your J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff in just a moment. And welcome back to Sulphur Springs Wildcat football. We await the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff here as the Wildcats are back to receive that. Down 7-0, 7:24 in this first quarter. The Wildcats not having an opportunity yet to possess the ball as the Mount Pleasant Tigers took the kickoff and marched all the way down the field, taking a little time off the clock and just finally getting it into the end zone, overcoming a lot of different obstacles there.
75-yard drive in 14 plays for Mount Pleasant. Big play on the drive was the 32-yard pass to Dylan Bennett on a 3rd and 25. And then McMahon scores on the 3-yard run. And the extra point kick was good. So it is 7-0 Mount Pleasant. Kick is out of bounds.
Yep. So they're going to drop it and mark it about that, looks like the 18-yard line. So
our outstanding board operator, James Terry, during the break reminded me that last year Sulphur Springs won this ball game by a score of 34-17.
Right.
And this is a long-standing series. Now, Chad referred to this here a few moments ago. This goes back to 1921, the series between Sulphur Springs and Mount Pleasant. Sulphur Springs has won 37 times. Mount Pleasant has won 35 times. And there has been one tie. So a pretty even series.
Yes, and hopefully
in all those years.
Wildcats can spread the gap tonight as they're ready to take that first down.
Brady Driver hands off to Malachi Rowland. We didn't see him last week, but he's in for the Wildcats on the first play tonight, but he only gets about a yard or so. They start at the 30-yard line after the kick out of bounds. And Malachi Rowland gets only 1 yard. Last season he had 555 yards rushing, 5.1 yards per carry, and 3 touchdowns for the Wildcats.
They're not going to give him really much of any forward progress, maybe a yard. As one of the Mount Pleasant Tigers lost his shoe, he gets dressed on the field and then
snap to Driver, gives it to Rowland, and Rowland trying to probe the right side and decides there's nothing there, then goes out to the left, still nothing there, and gets perhaps back to the line of scrimmage and not much more.
Malachi Rowland very quick and smaller frame there, so he can dodge those tackles quite a bit, but he's having trouble advancing too much. He gets another yard on that particular carry, so that's going to make it third down and about 8.
Malachi 5'6", 130 pounds. Tiny little guy.
Yep.
Driver on third down and 8 drops the snap, passing over the middle, and this is intended for Wyatt Watson, but a little too tall for him at the 50-yard line.
Yeah,
and so apparently Wildcats will have to punt here.
Yes, it's going to be punt time for those Wildcats. They're going to be 3 and out. Just couldn't make anything happen on that first drive, so Brady Driver back to punt the ball is going to be standing on his own 20-yard line. That's going to bring those receivers, the punt returners for the Tigers, standing on about their own 30-yard line. We'll see if we get a big booming kick here.
Driver had a 64-yard punt in the game last week against Jacksonville. Took a beautiful left turn as it was about to go out of bounds and roll all the way to the 10-yard line. Now this one is not so good. It's a little bit low and off, somewhat off the side of his foot, but again, he gets a good roll here. And it is all the way to the 38-yard line of Mount Pleasant. So it turned out not so bad.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was actually deflected or he tried to dodge somebody coming in on him and it came off the side of his foot. Very low punt, but it rolled quite a bit. And so the net yardage that he got out of that, John Mark, with your calculus?
31-yard
31
punt.
yards. There you go. Quick with the math. Thank you very much. I was afraid I was going to have to count on both hands there. So the Mount Pleasant Tigers, not so deep in their own territory, not as deep as they were last time. They've got a little bit better field position as they're going to start on their own 38-yard line. The Sulphur Springs Wildcat defense coming back out. Not much time to rest there. One of the officials coming over is still having a conference.
And the Wildcats being penalized here.
Yep. Not sure
before the ball is ever snapped, so
a 10-yard penalty. Not sure what that was about. We missed that particular call. And so it's going to be on about the 47.5-yard line.
7-0, Mount Pleasant leading, and they flip it out to Tony Grant in the flat on the near side, and he's out of bounds after a short gain, or a little more than I thought, though. He's into Sulphur Springs territory, and they will say the line of scrimmage is the Sulphur Springs 46-yard line. So that's a 6-yard gain, and it is 2nd down and 4. Ball on the near hash mark. They move right to left. Hand off to Grant between the tackles. And Grant looks like he will have the first down as the chains are starting to move, and he is to the Sulphur Springs 43-yard line. So Tigers looking pretty potent on offense here in the early going. First down from the Sulphur Springs 43. Give it to Grant, going off tackle to the left. Somebody catches him by the jersey from behind and pulls him down after a gain of about 4 yards.
Right, so
that may have been Truth Holmes. What a great name for Sulphur Springs, sophomore defensive lineman. 2nd down and 7 from the 39. Mason McMahon rolling out to his right, passing, complete at the 30-yard line, and inside the 25-yard line, and that is Kedrian Barksdale on the catch for Mount Pleasant. And he gets down to the 24-yard line of Sulphur Springs. That's 19 yards on the game.
And he gets wrapped up by number 11 for the Wildcats to stop him with any more forward progress, but it's 1st and 10 for those Tigers.
Ty Barbie on the tackle. First down. Low snap. And a pass to the flat on the near side. And is caught there by B.J. Brennan, their freshman receiver, 5'7", 163. And 3 or 4 Sulphur Spring Wildcats in on the tackle there, but the first to make contact, Braxton Wall for the Wildcats, and brings him down at the 18-yard line. That's a gain of 6 yards, or make it 8 yards. 2nd down and 2. And movement at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Wildcats were way off sides, but they didn't snap the ball. Wildcats get reset.
Mount Pleasant already leading 7-0. 4 minutes left to go first quarter. Sulphur Springs only has had it on offense for 3 plays. McMahon in the shotgun takes the snap, directing traffic, rolling to his right, throwing into the end zone. Batted away. Ball caught, but out of bounds apparently by Barksdale.
So Wildcats dodging a bullet there. The pass was good enough, long enough, high enough. Maybe got deflected by a Wildcat defender. He came down with it. The Tigers came down with it, but he was out of bounds. So lucky break for those Wildcats. 3rd and 3 as there's 3:49 left in this first quarter.
Barksdale is also very slight. He is 5'10", 125 pounds, Kedrian Barksdale. This is 3rd down and 3. McMahon in the pocket, moving, looking downfield, gonna run it. McMahon inside the 10, and at the 5, still on his feet, going for the pylon, and he is in for the touchdown, I believe, although I have not seen it signaled yet.
Yep, they're going to call it a touchdown. He was, the official's still down there discussing it, but the clock operator already put him 6 points on the board for those Tigers, and they're lining up for that extra point. Real good evasive moving there with quarterback from the Tigers as he ran that all the way in and got some blocks from his receivers on that as well.
Extra point coming up, and the ball is bobbled. The snap is bobbled, and they're still standing here in a rugby scrum at the 4 or 5 yard line, but they're not going to be able to get the ball across for the 2-point conversion. So the score will remain 13-0 Mount Pleasant with 3:36 left to go in the first quarter, and Mount Pleasant Tigers have been shot out of a gun here tonight.
Dominating already, yeah. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back at Sam Parker Field in just a moment. And we're back in Mount Pleasant, where the Mount Pleasant Tigers so far dominating over your Sulphur Springs Wildcats 13-0 in this first quarter. Only 3:36 left as the Wildcats are back to receive the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff, which is not good news because that means that the Tigers have just scored again. But they did miss that extra point, and hopefully that will come into play at some point, John Mark.
They usually do. And here is the kick. This is a kick to the 16-yard line, and the return for the Wildcats out to the 29-yard line.
Yep, that's number 7 on the return there for the Wildcats. Pretty good return there.
Jackson Hare, who had a big catch last week against Jacksonville, caught it in the flat and then ran with it another 40 yards or so, a total of a 50-yard gain on that particular play and set up the first touchdown. You're
going to mark it almost to the 30-yard line. I want to call it the 29, looks like. And so it's going to be 1st and 10 for your Wildcats on their own 29-yard line as they try to get something moving here in this first quarter. 3:31 left in the first quarter.
62-yard drive in 5 plays for Mount Pleasant. 18-yard touchdown run by the quarterback, Mason McMahon. Wildcats have only snapped it 3 times so far in the ball game here, and they're down 13-0.
They're doing it.
Sulphur Springs with 2 men wide to the far side, 1 to the near side. Tight end, strong right. Driver looking to the sideline for the play, taking a lot of time here. Play clock
10 seconds,
yeah, down to 10 seconds now. Malachi Rowland a step to his left. They fake to Rowland and pitch out to the far side, caught by Wyatt Watson for Sulphur Springs, but he's going nowhere. Yep. Watson brought down immediately as he made the catch.
Maybe a gain of 2, looks like. It's going to be 2nd and 8 for your Wildcats as they try to make something happen deep in their own territory. The ball on the 31-yard line as they're down 13-0. 3:05 left in this first quarter.
Empty backfield here for the Wildcats. And Brady Driver, he throws it out again. Watson makes the catch in the flat, makes a man miss. Now down the sideline, ducks out of bounds as he crosses the 40 at about the 41-yard line, and that'll be good enough for a first down.
Yes, absolutely. The Wildcats will be moving those chains. Their first down of the evening so far on their second possession as they get ready to come up the line of scrimmage at their own 41-yard line for your Hooten's Hardware first down.
Wildcats find themselves down to Mount Pleasant 13-0 here with 2:33 left to go in the first quarter. Man in motion from right to left. Hand off to Malachi Rowland. Up the middle, little guy darting this way and that. Crosses the 45 up to the 46-yard line for a gain of about 5 yards.
Yeah, great second effort there by Malachi Rowland as he powers his way up to get, I think that's going to be, he loses his helmet on that play, so he'll have to check out for one play and then probably be bringing him right back in, I would guess.
Yeah, D. Rose Luke into the ball game, but they won't lose a lot with Rose Luke
right.
The game at running back. So 2nd down and 5 for the Wildcats at their own 46-yard line, moving left to right. Sulphur Springs in their white road jerseys and pants, white headgear, of course, the blue and gold trim. Pass over the middle. Oh, to Sky Lewis, and he can't bring it in. He was off to the races.
But bobbled it too much and then left it on the field. So they're going to call that one back. It's going to be an incomplete pass. And going to make it 3rd and 5?
Yes.
Yes, 3rd and 5 for your Wildcats. Trying to get into the Tiger portion of the field, trying to cross that 50-yard line. They're on their own 46, so if they can get this first down, they'll be in Tiger territory for the first time tonight.
Lewis breaking in from left to right, had a step on his man at about the 30-yard line, but the ball just eluded him. So 3rd and 5. Ball between the hash marks. Brady Driver.
Looks like we've got a timeout.
They're going to take a timeout here before they snap it on 3rd down and 5.
Not sure. I think it was the Wildcats took that, but we're going to take a break with them. We're going to hear from some of our sponsors. We'll be back in just a moment.
3rd and 5, Driver passing for Sulphur Springs to the flat on the near side, and it is complete, and a great effort here by the receiver, and that is D. Rose Luke coming out of the backfield to make the catch, and he eluded 3 or 4 Wildcat tacklers or Tiger tacklers and gets to the Mount Pleasant 46-yard line.
Yes, so that's going to be another Hooten's Hardware first down for your Sulphur Springs Wildcats as they move those chains into Tiger territory. They're going to be on the Mount Pleasant 47-yard line, I believe. 1st and 10 for the Wildcats. 46.
I'll make it the 46, yeah.
Okay.
8 yards on that gain. Snap to Driver. Driver looks to his right, immediately goes back to his left, and passes incomplete.
Eric, here comes the flag. That was I'll call that one an early tackle, John Mark. As the ball was being thrown, the receiver for the Wildcats got tackled before the ball got there. So I think they're going to call that pass interference. Let's see.
I think that's against the rules, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it may be. Let's see if my yellow flag will reach from here, and that's the way I saw it.
Flag is on the Mount Pleasant 38-yard line. Pass interference against Mount Pleasant. Chad's
it's like I'm psychic.
But very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So that's going to move the sticks and give the Wildcats another first down. They're going to move it all the way up to the 40-yard line in Mount Pleasant Tiger territory. And it's going to be another Hooten's Hardware first down.
13-0 now. Mount Pleasant leading over Sulphur Springs. Couple of touchdown runs by their quarterback, Mason McMahon, one of 3 yards and one of 18 yards. And they've had 2 successful drives already.
Yes, and Wildcats looking good on this drive.
First down at the Mount Pleasant 40-yard line. Driver throwing far side in the flat, and the receiver gets away from the first contact down the sideline for another good gain, and that is Wyatt Watson, who makes the catch for Sulphur Springs and gets to the 32-yard line.
Already having a good game, but I'll say he's already having a good first quarter because there's a minute, just right at 1 minute left in this first quarter. The clock's still rolling as they move those the stick on up to the ball markers. Going to be, looks like 2nd and 4.
Yeah, 34-yard line of Mount Pleasant will be the line of scrimmage. Gain of 6 on that play.
Time for one more play, I think. 41 seconds and counting on the game clock for this quarter.
Driver. Play action pass. Sets up to throw. Deep into the end zone. Nobody there for Sulphur Springs. One man back for Mount Pleasant. I don't know if somebody, I think somebody did fall down on the route there.
Well, I would try to throw my flag from here on that one again, John Mark, because the Tiger defender just ran over the receiver for the Wildcats, who that was intended for. But there's no flag, so that's going to be another down, and that's going to make it 3rd, and they're calling it 3 on the big. No,
it's 3rd and 4.
That's what I think. Well, I'm going to have to go next door and talk to these guys because they're just not getting it right. 3rd and 4 for your Wildcats on the Tiger 34-yard line.
Ball between the hash mark. Wildcats have an H-back behind the left tackle. Snap it to Driver, and that's a good bet as Driver over the left side, but I don't think he quite does have the first down. He gets to the 31. He's going to be a yard short.
They're going to mark him short, and it's going to be decision time for the Wildcats. They're coming back up to the line of scrimmage, trying to get the ball snapped quickly, but
well, it's too far for a field goal, and obviously you're not going to punt at the 31-yard line, so they will go for the first down here.
Yes, but the officials not letting the Wildcats get up to the line of scrimmage, and 9 seconds left on the game clock. If they get this off, it's going to be surprising for me. 4th and 1 for your Wildcats.
Cameron Jefferson in the ballgame at running back for Sulphur Springs.
They're going to snap it.
The snap to Driver, and Driver will have the first down. Driver driving for the first down as he gets inside the 30 down to the 27-yard line of Mount Pleasant, and that'll be the final play of the first quarter, with Mount Pleasant leading over Sulphur Springs 13-0.
Yeah, but the Wildcats are marching down the field. We're going to take a break while they switch ends of the field, and we'll be back to Mount Pleasant versus the Wildcats in just a moment.
Sulphur Springs Wildcats football on KSST. Mount Pleasant leading over Sulphur Springs 13-0 as we start the second quarter. But the Wildcats driving as Sulphur Springs has driven from its own 29-yard line to the Sulphur Springs 27-yard line in 9 plays. And it's going to be first down as we start the second quarter here.
Yes, another Hooten's Hardware first down as they switch ends of the field, and the Wildcats have got some momentum going, John Mark. They have really, let's see, they started on the 30, is that what you said?
29.
29, I was very close in my memory there. I can't read your handwriting in the dark, but it's 29-yard line and made it all the way down past the, 26, 27, where they are? First and 10.
Line of scrimmage is the 27. That is correct. Man in motion from left to right. That's Sky Lewis. And they pitch it to Lewis on a reverse, and Lewis gets away from the first tackler in the backfield, but not the second tackler.
He got tackled by his shoelaces there in the backfield, so he's going to lose about 2 yards on that, maybe 3.
Isaiah Hunter made the tackle for Mount Pleasant. Sky Lewis.
Yeah, you can't discount that. That was a good play by the Tiger defense there. So
really a jet sweep, more of a jet sweep than a reverse. But
right.
He had lined up as a receiver on the left side, coming back to the right side, the far side, with a full head of steam. But Mount Pleasant had that play analyzed very nicely. So this now is second down and 12 from the 30-yard line. Brady Driver takes the snap, fakes the handoff, setting up a screen to D. Rose Luke. And Luke makes a man miss, lowers his shoulder, and gets down to the 25-yard line.
Basket League number 8, 0.
Trying to get that momentum back as they get back into past the original line of scrimmage. It's going to make it third and about 8 for your Wildcats, and it's decision time now. They need a big play to make it happen because, we're kind of in two down territory here because they went for 4th and 1 and made it earlier, and now it's 3rd and 8.
Great job by Rose Luke of shrugging off a tackle there. Now here's Driver setting up to throw, passing over the middle for Wyatt Watson. He's got him complete at the 10-yard line, and that'll be good for a Wildcat first down.
Well, we're going to have to look at the tape on that. He did not think he was down as he rolled over the defender and got back up and ran in for the touchdown, but no indication from the officials, so they're going to call him down back where the defender tackled him, but I never saw his knee hit.
Yeah. Great point. But this will be 1st and goal for the Wildcats at the Mount Pleasant 10. Sulphur Springs down 13-0, but they'll be right back in the thick of it with a touchdown here. That's a 15-yard gain on the pass from Brady Driver to Wyatt Watson. Now Sulphur Springs up to the line.
Your Hooten's Hardware first down, 1st and goal on the 9.
Snap to Driver. D. Rose Luke between the tackles. Little guy pushing hard against a very determined front line there for Mount Pleasant, but he does end up getting a couple of yards to the 8-yard line.
Kind of hit a brick wall there, and he pushed it a little bit, but didn't make much yardage. Going to make it 2nd and 7. The Wildcats trying to get on the board as they're down 13-0. 9:35 left in this first half of the ball game.
Wildcats looking to the sideline for the play. Play clock now still showing 18 seconds, so still plenty of time.
Yep.
Brady Driver in the shotgun. Ball is on the far hash. Cameron Jefferson takes the handoff, and he is going to be dropped for a loss back behind the line of scrimmage.
Yes, now real big decision time for the Wildcats as they get pushed back a couple of yards there. It's going to make it... Are they all the way back on about the 12-yard line?
Back at the 12-yard line, yeah. Ja'Cory Turner, senior linebacker, made the tackle there, knifing through the line from Mount Pleasant. So this now 3rd and goal from the 12. They have to score.
Yes.
This is a goal-to-go situation.
Looking for a, probably going to air this one out, looking for a pass on this play.
Cameron Jefferson, a step to the left of Brady Driver. Driver takes the snap and a pass out into the flat. And it is going nowhere for the Wildcats. Cameron Jefferson is brought down almost as soon as he makes the catch, and the tackle there for Mount Pleasant by Jacoby Turner, senior, 5'11", 180 pounds in the field goal unit coming out onto the field for the Wildcats.
Yeah, they're going to not take a chance on this, try to get 3 points on the board and make it a 10-point game here. Wildcats, that's going to be Eric Rodriguez kicking from about, they're going to place, he's going to take that snap about the 20-yard line. Should be routine.
Angle is to the right. This is a 30-yard field goal, and the kick is on the way, and it is no good, wide left.
It's wide to the left, and unfortunately, the Wildcats cannot put those points on the board. 7:41 left in this first half of the ball game. Your Wildcats down 13-0. They'll hand the ball over on downs. Then the Tigers will take the ball as that kick is no good. We'll take a very quick break, and we'll be back with Wildcat football in just a moment.
Mount Pleasant leading over Sulphur Springs 13-0. Wildcats just failed to convert on a 30-yard field goal. On the first down running play here for Mount Pleasant, this is Nick Cates on the carry, 200-pound senior running back, and he gets out to the 23-yard line for a gain of 3 yards. 13-0, Mount Pleasant ahead. Moving left to right here in the second quarter. Snap. to Mason McMahon. The pass to the far side is complete, and across the 30 to about the 31 or 32-yard line, depending on where they mark it. Looks like the 31.
Yep.
And that'll be good for a first down for Mount Pleasant.
That was 81 on the reception for the Mount Pleasant Tigers.
B.J. Brannon made the catch.
He gets wrapped up by a lot of Wildcat defenders there, but it's enough for a first down. They're going to move those chains all the way up to the 31-yard line. Still deep in their own territory, but already a first down for those Tigers.
He's just a freshman, 5'7", 163. B.J. Brannon had 3 catches for 39 yards against Pittsburgh last week. McMahon in trouble. Going to try to make something of it here, and he's going to scramble back to the line of scrimmage, but he was covered up there by Damian Gocher, the senior defensive lineman for Sulphur Springs. So McMahon showing great athletic ability just to get away from Gocher and to get back to the line of scrimmage there. It'll be second down and 10 at the 31-yard line. We have a player down right now for the Wildcats. So, Chad, maybe we ought to take a break here. 13-0,
yes.
Mount Pleasant leading over Sulphur Springs.
We'll be back in just a moment. And we're back at the Wildcat game, playing the Tigers. The Wildcats down 13-0, 6:26 left in the second quarter here, the first half of the ball game. Had a slight injury on the Tiger side. He walked off under his own power, so I expect him to be playing again. But the Tigers moving on up the field. They're on the Wildcat 32-yard line, looks like, and it's second and 9 for the Tigers.
Mount Pleasant at its own 32, now moving left to right, and McMahon takes the step under tremendous pressure here. Now coming back to the right and throwing downfield, that incomplete. And great pressure there by Zach Thomas, the senior Wildcat down lineman for Sulphur Springs.
Wildcats certainly putting some pressure on the quarterback. There's a flag down on the play. I'm not sure what that is. Kind of in the secondary there, about the 38-yard line. 2 flags, actually. But the quarterback had to throw that ball away. Not intentional grounding. He was scrambling. He was way out of the pocket on that. Justin
Woodson is our referee, and we're watching him very carefully right now.
Right, conference leader out there. Referee.
13-0, Mount Pleasant with 2 touchdown drives in the first quarter. Wildcats drove 62 yards.
Thank you.
But unable to convert on a 30-yard field goal a short time ago.
Yes, that was a great drive by those Wildcats, and they're picking up that flag, and here we go. Here comes the call. Okay.
Personal foul, Mount Pleasant.
Okay.
Anything else?
Well, we'll see.
I think that's all. Okay.
That's going to be a big one.
So that's a big break for the Wildcats.
Yeah, especially as the Tigers are deep in their own territory. They're going to be 15 yards deeper as they're going to mark that back all the way back to the 20. No, that's the 17-yard line.
17-yard line.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be second and about 6 miles for the Tigers. They're going to have to really put something together here, deep in their own territory on their own 17-yard line.
Second and 25. Need to reach the 41-yard line in Mount Pleasant territory for the first down. Still have the little fire plug in there at running back, Nick Cates. I say fire plug. He's 5'10", but 200 pounds.
Wow.
He doesn't look 5'10" to me.
6:18 left in the first half of this Wildcat game. The Wildcats down 13-0.
Mason McMahon, their senior quarterback, on this second down and 25 play. Takes the snap and backpedals. Going to air it out deep down the center of the field, and he had a man out there with a step on the defender, and that was Dylan Bennett, but just overthrew him.
Yes, that ball sailed through the air all the way over the 50 down to, about the 35-yard line.
A strong arm.
Wildcat territory, but came up short for the Tigers, and that's going to make it punt time for the Tigers as it's 4th and 25, and their punter is going to be
Nobody back for Sulphur Springs. Now there is. Now we see that.
Here we go.
Yeah, there's Sky Lewis back there at about midfield.
Yeah.
And the punter for Mount Pleasant is Gerardo Chavez, or Gerardo, most likely. Gerardo Chavez gets the snap. Little sidewinder action there on the punt, and it's taken by Sky Lewis at the Sulphur Springs 43-yard line, and he is brought down after a return of 3 or 4 yards. Good coverage there by Mount Pleasant.
Yes, but and a pretty good punt by Mount Pleasant. He took that snap all the way back on his own 5-yard line, and it dropped about the 50 and bounced into a Wildcat's hands, and he only advanced it about 3 yards, like you say. They're going to mark him.
Looks like the 48-yard line.
Yep, absolutely. Wildcats still in their own territory on their own 48, but they don't have far to go to get into Tiger territory.
13-0, Mount Pleasant leading over Sulphur Springs. 6:01 left to go in the first half. Brady Driver, the quarterback for Sulphur Springs. Handoff D. Rose Luke. Luke going over right tackle. Manages to pick up a short gain across the 50 into Mount Pleasant territory to the 49-yard line, so let's make that a gain of 3 yards, and it'll be 2nd down and 7 for your Sulphur Springs Wildcats. Wildcats moving from right to left on the artificial surface here at Sam Parker Field in Mount Pleasant. Brady Driver looking to the sideline for the play, and now he's got it. Wildcats with 2 wide receivers to either side of the field. D. Rose Luke in the backfield to the left of Brady Driver. Driver in the pocket, moving around. And is that intercepted?
Yep, believe so.
Hate to say so, but apparently so. Throwing to the flat over on the right side.
May have been number 7 for the Tigers. Got the pick on that ball.
Evidently, and that would be Antez Jeffrey, 6'2", 180-pound senior, and Brady Driver, that'll be his first interception of the season. He was throwing over to the flat, what seemingly was a fairly safe pass, but somehow or other, Antez Jeffrey read the play, came up with the interception, and returns it into Sulphur Springs territory to the 36-yard line.
So with 5:05 left in this first half, the Wildcats turn over the ball, and the Tigers get deep into Wildcat territory. They're going to start their 1st and 10 on the Wildcat 36-yard line.
Go Tigers.
13-0, Mount Pleasant leading. Quarterback for Mount Pleasant taking the snap in the shotgun. Passing, has a man wide open at the 5-yard line. Touchdown, Mount Pleasant. Dylan Bennett on the touchdown from McMinn.
It doesn't take long for the Tigers to turn that game around and turn that drive around for the Wildcats. The Wildcats turned it over, and in one play, the Tigers take it on into the end zone, making it 19-0 with 4:55 left in this first half as we await the extra point from the Tigers. And not sure they'd go for 2 here, but they missed that last extra point, and so
somebody missed a coverage there because Dylan Bennett wide open over on the near side at about the 5-yard line, and McMinn laid it in there for him, and he just walked into the end zone. Extra point is to come. Flag down.
Not sure if that was a delay of game or
some sort of false start or illegal procedure anyway against Mount Pleasant. The place kicker for the Tigers is Gerardo Chavez. Wow. 19-0 Mount Pleasant. And that touchdown, of course, set up on the interception just moments before. In fact, the play before by Antez Jeffrey.
It's going to back the Tigers up a little bit, make the extra point, try just a little bit farther away. It's going to be kicking from about his own 17-yard line.
So this is the equivalent of a 27-yard field goal now. High snap. Kick on the way, and it is blocked. And that's a free ball, but there's a scrum for the ball at the 22-yard line, and nothing will come of it. So the score will remain Mount Pleasant 19, Sulphur Springs nothing. 4:55 left to go in the first half.
We'll take a break here as we get ready for the next kickoff, and we'll be back with you with Wildcat football on KSST in just a moment. And welcome back to Wildcat football. Wildcats having a tough night tonight, down 19-0 as they are back to receive the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff here in Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant dominating this first half so far. 4:55 left in this first half.
Short kickoff being taken inside the 20-yard line, and the return for the Wildcats up the right side by Tristan Hankins, and he is out of bounds at about the, again, I think around the 30-yard line, but I haven't seen where they're going to mark it quite yet. So the 30 or thereabouts. Looks like 29.
Looks like they're going to mark it at 29, and the Wildcats will start their first down possession of this drive deep in their own territory and see if they can make something of it. Wildcats having a tough time this first half. 4:50 left in this first half. Wildcats down 19-0.
A touchdown moments ago set up on the interception by Antez Jeffrey. And Brady Driver handing off Cameron Jefferson. Jefferson going off tackle to the left side, cuts it back, slashes to the 34-yard line for a gain of 5 yards. So that's a good start to that drive. Sulphur Springs really needs to put some points on the board before halftime here, Chad, and ideally not give the ball back to Mount Pleasant in the remaining 4.5 minutes.
They've got a kind of a short clock here, but they can move down the field pretty quickly, and they need to do so. Try to like I say, get some points on the board.
Jeff Stevenson out over the football at center. And off to Jefferson, trying to go off tackle to the right side, but Jefferson nowhere to go. He is hit hard by Ryder Marshall, 6'3", 225-pound senior for the Tigers, and brought down at the 35-yard line for a gain of 1 yard. So big play here for Sulphur Springs.
Oh, yes. It's
3rd and 4. Not only do you want to get the first down and keep the drive moving, you do not want to give the ball back to the Tigers.
Right. Absolutely not.
With plenty of time remaining, and each team now, the scoreboard says each team has 3 timeouts. I thought Sulphur Springs had taken 1 timeout.
Well, I thought they had 2. But.
So here is 3rd down for the Wildcats. Driver rolling out to his right. He is hit hard, bounces off that tackle, keeps his feet moving, but still will not be able to pick up the first down. Maybe gets a yard or so, and that's all.
Yeah, so it's going to be 4th down decision time for your Wildcats. We'll see what Coach Faircloth is going to call on this one, because this is kind of a do-or-die situation for the Wildcats. They really need to put some points on the board, but they really don't need to turn that ball over. 3 minutes and 3 seconds counting down here in the first half. Wildcats down 19-0. It looks like they're going for it.
Wow. Kind of surprised here. 3rd and 3. Now Driver could drop back and punt into punt formation very quickly, but that's not what he's going to do. He is going to throw into the far side, and it is incomplete.
Some real tight coverage by the Mount Pleasant Tigers over there. No flag. That pass is ruled incomplete, which means the Wildcats are going to turn it over on downs. And so the Tigers are going to pick up the ball on the Wildcat 36-yard line. And with 2 minutes and 45 seconds left in this first half, that's kind of a danger zone for the Wildcats, as the Tigers can move the ball pretty quickly. And so they want to do everything they can to keep them out of the end zone and putting any more points on the scoreboard.
Tristan Hankins was the intended receiver, and it was just a little bit too tall for him. So the ball goes over to Mount Pleasant at the Sulphur Springs 36-yard line. And Mount Pleasant leading 19-0, as Chad told you, 2:45 left to go in the half. McMahon, here is a jet sweep now to Dylan Bennett, going left to right, and Bennett crosses the line of scrimmage, down the sideline, inside the Sulphur Springs 10-yard line at about the 9.
Well, just what the Wildcats did not want to happen is that the Tigers are just marching down the field. A huge advance there. 2:35 and counting on the game clock. The ball all the way inside the 10-yard line, and so it's going to be 1st and 9. first and goal on the 9, about the 9.5 there, John Mark, for those Tigers.
25 yards on that gain as they flip it to Dylan Bennett, going from left to right, lined up as a wideout and coming back to the near side. And a running play up the middle goes nowhere now on this first down play. And on the tackle there for Sulphur Springs, that was T.J. Bolden on the tackle. And the loss is back to the 11-yard line. That's a loss of 2.
Clock still ticking down, 1:51 and counting in this half. The Tigers taking their time. They can take some time off the clock, because if they put it in, they don't want to kick off back to the Wildcats with much time at all left on the clock. Good clock management there by the Tigers.
They definitely have all 3 timeouts. Here's a low snap on this second down play from the 11-yard line, and McMahon moving in the pocket, looking for his man in the end zone. Had 2 men as possible receivers, but finds neither one of them, as it's incomplete at the back of the end zone, and it'll be third down at the 11-yard line. Third down and goal. Huge play here for both teams, but especially Sulphur Springs.
Yeah.
Cannot afford to go down any further.
The Wildcat defense needing a little rest, because they've been out there a lot in this first half of the ball game. So, and know that they're certainly getting winded, but and here comes a timeout. Looks like a timeout by the Tigers. 1:28 left in this first half. We're going to take a quick timeout with them and be back here with Wildcat football on KSST in just a moment. Hey, we're back to Wildcat football. The Tigers took a break there, took a timeout, but the game clock's running down, John Mark, so I'm not sure they're going to have to reset that.
Or is that running down the timeout? I think maybe that's what that is. It's indicating the time left in the timeout.
Well, maybe so.
I've seen that in
so the game clock,
places.
They'll reset the game clock here in just a second then. Wildcats down 19-0, and they're going to have to get something moving. 1:28 left in this first half. You were absolutely correct there, John Mark. They were using the game clock as the countdown for the timeout. I don't know why they can't use the play clock for that. I guess it doesn't go into double digits there. So the Tigers coming back on the field. It's going to be third and goal. The ball's on the 11-yard line. And so it's crunch time for your Wildcat defense.
Big play. Third and goal from the 11. Mount Pleasant leading 19-0 already. Snap to McMahon. He's in trouble, and he is going to be sacked.
Another loss of yardage there, all the way back to the 15. It dropped him for about a 4-yard loss.
It's Ty Bolden again, and also Chad Bo Loggins in on that sack.
They're letting the game clock continue to count down. It's 1:06 and counting, and they're bringing the field goal unit out, so they're going to try to put 3 points on the board. You can expect them to let this count down as far as they can and try to take a timeout. Give their kicker plenty of time, but less time on the game clock. 44 and counting.
Huge play there for Sulphur Springs. T.J. Bolden and Loggins, I believe I said. Yeah, Bo Loggins teaming up on that sack, on that third down and goal from the 11. And Sulphur Springs certainly could not afford to give up another touchdown. A field goal is bad enough.
Right.
19-0, Mount Pleasant. What a shock. And Wildcats have held them out a little bit. That interception set up the last touchdown, of course. And then Sulphur Springs giving the ball up on downs at their own 36-yard line here a short time ago, setting up this opportunity. Now is Sulphur Springs taking a timeout?
Looks like it. 15 seconds left on the game clock. We're going to take a quick break while they take a break, and we'll be back with Wildcat football here in just a moment. And we're back at Wildcats football here on KSST. 15 seconds left in this first half. The Wildcats down 19-0. The Tigers have the ball all the way down in Wildcat territory. It's fourth down on the fourth and goal, actually. 15 yards to go. So it looks like they're going to kick it. I see John Mark counting on both hands to see how many Tiger players are on the field. John
well, no,
Mark.
you're right. I'm counting with my fingers here. But I'm calculating the distance of the field goal. It's going to be a 32-yard field goal. The angle will be to the left.
Yep. So not a good situation for your Wildcats as they're down 19-0, and their kicker back to kick the ball.
Gerardo Chavez is their place kicker.
Left-footed kicker, looks like.
He is at that. How about that? Mm-hmm. Here's the snap. Kick is low, but did it make it?
Nope.
No, it does not actually go over the crossbar. It was under the crossbar. They just really didn't hit it well at all.
So that is no good for the Tigers. That leaves the score 19-0. Took a few seconds off the clock. They have 10.7 seconds on that clock, and that the Wildcats get the ball back. It'd be interesting to see if they just kneel and go to the.
I think they will because they get the ball to start the second half.
They do. They deferred. They won the toss and deferred, so they'll get the kick at the start of the second half. So we expect Brady Driver to take a knee here and go to the locker room and try to sort this first half out and see what changes they can make. And we'll be for our radio broadcast listeners, yep, he did. He downed that, and he's going to let the final seconds of the first half tick off the clock. That's going to be the first half of Wildcat football. Wildcats down 19-0 here in Mount Pleasant. And we're going to have a little challenge on the audio for our radio listeners, and we're going to try to crank that up to hear Man Oh Man, that Wildcat band coming out here, taking the field already. And then for our YouTube watchers, we're Matt Jansen, and we've got some other help here tonight. They're going to take the camera outside and capture that for Channel 18 at a later date. We're not going to be broadcasting the band on YouTube at halftime on this game, just because of our challenges with some of the inside press box here. So we're going to shut the YouTube off.
Johnson, Sarah Voss, Macy Williams, Lily Bankston, Valeria Miro. Officers for the 2023-2024 line are Junior Lieutenants Trinity Martin and Sedona McCollum, Senior Lieutenant Lily Glenn, Captain Carter Charlton, and Captain Jackie Merlick.
Mike's the white.
The Blazers want to send a special shout out to their Blaze of the Week, Jaden Allen, and their Spirit Girl of the Week, Sailor Sawyer. The Blazers thank their Spotlight Teacher of the Week, Miss Kaylee Wood. The Blazers are under the direction of Meredith Dial and Assistant Director Shelley Caldwell. The Blazers would like to thank their sponsors, Roper and White, The Sign Shop, Wyatt's Towing, Bob Evans, Hopkins County Abstract, Hodges Orthodontics, Caldwell Banker Watson Company, Kids Heat and Air, Cornerstone Renovation, City National Bank, Bahena Construction, and Nottingham Dodge. Now join the Blazers as they dance through the holidays this football season. Tonight the Blazers party it up with a streamer routine to Party Rock Anthem. and gentlemen, here they come. Man, oh man, here's that Wildcat band. Ladies and gentlemen, the band is being led on the field by senior drum majors Catherine Starzik, Jerry Residus, Lauren Menard, and junior drum major Brody Emmert. The Wildcat band would like to recognize as your section of the week, the tubas. And this week's band members of the week are Jackson Davis and Bella Gilbert. Tonight, the Wildcat band is excited to make a splash as we continue another exciting season with this year's show entitled H2O. Proctor, Connor Dawes, and Piper Cotton. Not soloists were Kenny White and Levi Caden. All the day next week for our home opener at Gerald Prim Stadium, and we continue to add surprises to the show. This is the voice of the Wildcat Band saying, "Go Wildcats!"
Side, I don't know. It's going to be more of the same from them. I don't know that they really need to make a bunch of changes. They've been doing a pretty good job of moving the ball down the field. The quarterback got an intentional grounding penalty there in the first half, and but he likes to scramble, and he doesn't give up. You have to give him that. He's can scramble around and still throw the ball downfield. Sometimes connects, and sometimes has to throw the ball away. Sometimes get caught for it.
He and Brady Driver seem pretty comparable to me.
Yes.
They seem to be cut from the same cloth, very much so. But Mount Pleasant has a lot of weapons on offense. They have
do.
a lot of guys whose hands they can put the football in, and that makes it tough for the Sulphur Springs defense. But I will give the Wildcat defense credit. They came up with several big plays in the first half, or it would be worse than it is.
Right.
And so especially here at the end, those two sacks that came near the end were huge for Sulphur Springs. So that's something to be taken into consideration. I'll tell you another thing I know that Brandon Faircloth and his coaching staff emphasize tremendously, and that is conditioning. And one thing that they're banking on right now is that in the fourth quarter, that the Wildcats are going to be in better condition, and they're going to be in a better position to make plays than the Tigers.
Right.
And I'm sure that's part of what they're talking about at halftime, if you want to know what they're talking about. And we'll see if that's so, because the other guys work out in the hot weather too, and they work out in the off season and so forth. But Brandon Faircloth takes a great deal of pride in the conditioning of his players, and I think he believes that was a big factor last week against Jacksonville in the fourth quarter and all that heat. And we'll see if that might not come into play again tonight here in Mount Pleasant.
Yes, and of course the Wildcats defense in the locker room right now with a much-needed rest, because they spent a lot of time on the field in that first half, and so they're getting a little bit of a break, but also trying to retool and learn what they can do. As I see the Mount Pleasant band with a lot of props, by the way, and their UIL presentation that they're practicing at halftime tonight, and taking plenty of time during halftime. But the Wildcats already walking around the band and coming back to the far side of the field, so they've gotten their direction from Coach Faircloth, and they've got about 6.5 minutes left in this halftime, but it looks like this band presentation may take a little bit longer than that. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back here with Wildcat football as we get ready to start the second half here in just a moment on KSST. And we're back with Wildcat football here. It's halftime, and the Wildcats down, unfortunately, 19-0 here in Mount Pleasant against the Mount Pleasant Tigers. They have had a real tough time in this first half, and so we'll hope they can kind of retool and get some things moving here in the second half here at Sam Parker Field. A beautiful night for football, especially in early September, as it is the 1st of September. It usually can be unbearably hot, but we've got a good temperature outside, 79 degrees. The flag, let's see, I can't even find it, not even moving.
Yep.
It's draped around the flagpole, so we have zero wind here. Could still be a little bit warmer out on the field, but not as bad as it's been in recent weeks. I
went downstairs at the beginning of halftime, Chad. Very pleasant outside. Very pleasant evening to be sitting in the stands. As you say, 79 degrees. I'd like to have a little breeze, but it's not bad at all. We talked about early in the broadcast that this is a long series, a long-standing series between Sulphur Springs and Mount Pleasant, two cities of similar size, not very far away from each other. They have been playing this series since 1921, when Sulphur Springs won the first game 14-0, and over the years Sulphur Springs has won 37 games, Mount Pleasant has won 35, and there has been one game tie. So
Yes.
really closely competitive series between Sulphur Springs and Mount Pleasant.
They haven't played they haven't played every year in those 102 years, just 37, 35, and 1. That's 73 games over those years, and we played them last year, but they were in our district for many, many years of being the same size, and then we kind of separated there for a while. And but back again, and the rivalry continues, and right now the Tigers trying to get a little bit closer to evening, making those matches a little more even over the years, and the Wildcats trying to figure out how they can change their mind on that as the halftime game clock is about 2 minutes and 30 seconds as their band and all of their props leave the field, and they get ready to the big inflatable helmets are back inflated, and the Wildcats get ready to re-enter the field.
Chad, something I came across this week I did not know, and it was really interesting and surprising in its way, and that is Mount Pleasant has a terrific basketball program in boys and girls basketball. Last year, the boys went 33-1, and the girls went 36-1 in basketball here, and both went deep into the playoffs.
Right, yes.
In particular, the girls, but did not lose a game, either one, until the last game of the season, obviously, in the playoffs. They were undefeated up to that point. And football off to a good start this season for them, especially here tonight, the first half against Sulphur Springs. But no doubt they're pointing to the basketball season here in a few weeks getting started in Mount Pleasant. Lady Wildcat volleyball team is off tonight. They have an open date on their schedule. They play again Tuesday at Texarkana, Texas High with a 6 p.m. start. They are 12-12 so far this season under Coach Bailey Dorner. And they, of course, have not yet started district play. So they're still getting ready for that and still getting their ducks in a row and getting ready for the start of district play, which is very much something that the Wildcat football team is doing also tonight. As you talk to Brandon Faircloth, he makes a very big distinction in these pre-district games versus district games.
Right.
And, these are regular season games. They count on your record and so forth, but they are very much in the preparation mode for their district games, which will start on October 6th at Community in Nevada.
Yes. Yeah.
So
more than a month away.
That's They're so right, and so we've got 3 games between after tonight between now and then. By the way, at home next Friday night against the Hallsville Bobcats, first home game of the season at Gerald Prem Stadium. But win or lose tonight, Brandon Faircloth is going to say we're getting ready for district play.
Right.
And that's our objective. So that's something that's very much on their mind as they were preparing for this game, and I think even now as we get ready to start the second half.
Yes, and the Mount Pleasant Tigers have just taken the field, and then the Wildcats have come out to receive the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff to start this second half, trying to make something move here down the field. 19-0, the Wildcats are down, and we'll try to see if we can get some points on the board as the Wildcats receive the kickoff here in just a moment. We've got number 17 deep back for the Wildcats all the way back almost to the 5-yard line.
Tristan Hankins.
Yeah, so he's coming back up to the 10, and so he's hoping to get the ball and move it on up. Most of the kickers that we've been up against these past, this week and last week have just been kicking it short. They haven't been kicking it deep. Eric Rodriguez, of course, a very deep kicker for the Wildcats. So here comes the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff as the Wildcats receive.
Alberto Avila is the kickoff man this time. And as Chad said, there's a short kick to the 22-yard line, and the return for Sulphur Springs.
Good one.
This, I believe, is Wyatt Watson. Am I right? It's over on the far side.
Yeah, I'm looking.
No, that
7.
That is just a second. I'll have that for you.
Yep.
That is Jackson Hare.
Great run back there. He gets all the way up, but they're going to mark him about the 39-yard line. So the Wildcats are going to start their first drive of the second half on their own 39-yard line as they're moving right to left up the field here in this third quarter.
Excellent field position and the nice return there by Jackson Hare, the wideout for Sulphur Springs. And so Brady Driver has him at the line of scrimmage on this first down play. And D. Rose Luke takes the handoff, goes between the tackles, and has a nice gain on first down up to about the 43-yard line. That's a gain of 4.
Yep.
Second down and 6 for Sulphur Springs. Have not seen since early in the first quarter Malachi Rowland. And I did see him sort of hobbling off, not too badly, but haven't seen him since then.
Right.
But Wildcats in good hands with D. Rose Luke in at running back, or Cameron Jefferson. We have an H-back behind the left tackle, 2 men wide to the near side. Brady Driver gives it to Rose Luke, and he shows surprising power for a kid that is not that big, and turning his back to the defense, he keeps driving all the way to the 50-yard line, and that's a first down for Sulphur Springs.
Yes, that second and third effort he made got it across the line right where he needed to be, right at midfield for a Wildcat first down. This is going to be your Hooten's Hardware first down at the 50-yard line, 1st and 10 for your Wildcats.
D. Rose Luke is a sophomore. We don't have height and weight on him, but if I look at him, I'm saying that he's 5'6", 150 pounds maybe. Not a big guy. Ball between the hash marks on first down from the 50. Driver again hands off to D. Rose Luke, and Luke swarmed at the line of scrimmage and brought down for no gain. Among the tacklers there for Mount Pleasant, Ryder Marshall, and also I believe Tanner Marshall. I suppose they are brothers teaming up on that tackle. Second down and 10.
Yeah, didn't make much headway there, so they're right at the 50-yard line for that second down and 10. They're going to try to be moving on up the field here, so a little extra help in the press box tonight on the camera. We've got Natalie Sheffield.
Yeah.
And so she's working the camera. Then I'm going to get a little help here in a minute as well. Oh.
And Brady Driver passing on this second down and 10 into the flat for Sky Lewis, who's been quiet so far tonight, and Lewis can't hold on.
Yeah, in and out of his hands and in and out of a defender's hands, almost got intercepted there. So the Wildcats dodged a bullet there, but it's going to be 3rd and 10, and it's crunch time for the Wildcat offense.
Again, really important drive here for Sulphur Springs, down 9-0, first possession of the third quarter.
We'll call it the Tom Landry drive.
Yeah, well, again, as I said at halftime, Landry used to say that's the most important possession of the game, and I think he was right. 3 wideouts far side, 1 to the near side. Snap to Driver. Driver rolling out to his right, passing, caught, and should be good for the first down to about the 35-yard line, and this is Tristan Hankins who makes the catch and the run for the Wildcats.
So on 3rd and 10, they pick up about 15 yards and move the ball all the way down to the 35-yard line into Tiger territory, and so a great conversion there for your Wildcats as they get lined up on the 35 for a Hooten's Hardware first down.
Absolutely had to have it.
Yep. Great conversion.
Brady Driver in the shotgun has a running back to his left. 3 men wide to the near side. D. Rose Luke on the handoff, and charging straight ahead, lowers his shoulder and is down close to the 30-yard line. Let's see, they say the 31-yard line.
Well, the Tigers are indicating that they had gotten the ball there, but this probably came out after it was whistled dead. So
I think so.
I don't see any movement by the officials over there, but I see the down marker moving down the field. That's good for the Wildcats.
Yep.
Looks like they picked up about 5.
I would say 4, so second down and 6 at the 31-yard line for Sulphur Springs.
Yep.
Wildcats moving right to left in their road white jerseys, white pants, white headgear with the blue and gold trim. Hand off to Rose Luke. Tried to go off tackle to the left side, but he is cut down short of the line of scrimmage. And making the first contact there for Mount Pleasant is Devin Burtness. So this should be third down, right?
Yep, correct. And there's not much movement on the stick man over there, so it's going to be third. And the scoreboard says 5. John Mark and I say 6.
Yep.
So it's going to be 3rd and 6. Either way, it's another time for a big play for your Wildcats. We'll see if they showing pass on this next one, or if they're, it looks like they've got a couple receivers left and right.
Empty backfield for Sulphur Springs on this third down and 6. They throw it out to Jackson Hare. He eludes a tackler and goes down the far side and is close to the first down, out of bounds inside the 25. I think he'll have it.
Yep, they're going to move those sticks, and the Wildcats are picked up another first down. They're going to move down to, what is that going to be, the 25-yard line? They're going to mark it on the 25. It's going to be 1st and 10 for your Hooten's Hardware first down.
He just got it. I thought he might have it by a yard or so, but he just did get it.
He made a believer out of that guy holding the stick over there on the far side.
But Jackson Hare, nice move there. The sophomore receiver for the Wildcats. First down for the Wildcats at the 25-yard line. 19-0, however.
Yep.
Mount Pleasant leading.
7:45 left in this third quarter, and you're going to whistle this one dead. Looks like the Wildcats are going to take a timeout and talk about it on this very important play. We're going to take a break with them, and we'll be back with Wildcat football in just a moment. And we're back, Wildcat football. The Wildcats marching down the field deep into Tiger territory. 7:45 left in this third quarter. 19-0, though. The Tigers lead the Wildcats, and here comes Brady Driver.
First down and 10 from the Mount Pleasant 25-yard line. 3 men to the left of the formation. And the give here to Cameron Jefferson over the right side. And there's really nowhere to go for him. He might have gotten a yard or so.
Yes.
But it's going to be second down and long for Sulphur Springs. And we see, once again, Ryder Marshall, 6'3", 225-pound senior, getting off the pile for the Tigers.
Right.
Second down, and I make it 9. At the 24-yard line. 19-0 Mount Pleasant, but Sulphur Springs driving on this first possession of the second half. H-back behind the left tackle. Snap to Brady Driver. Loose ball. Driver pounces for it. However, there are more black jerseys than white jerseys around it, and Sulphur Springs gives up the football.
Oh, another tough break for your Sulphur Springs Wildcats as they were marching down the field. Bad snap or bobbled the ball. Either way, the ball came out. The Wildcats lost it, and the Tigers got it. 7 minutes left in this third quarter, and the Wildcats turn over the ball. The Tigers going to pick that up and start their 1st and 10 on their own 21-yard line.
Ashad Smith recovered the ball for Mount Pleasant. He's a 6', 175-pound sophomore. But there could have been 2 or 3 other Tigers that came up with the ball there.
And John Mark, I'm going to take a little break and put our man Cameron Faust on the headset here.
Okay, great.
Color commentary.
All right, Cameron Faust is going to step in here and share some of the broadcast with us here. 19-0 Mount Pleasant. And Mason McMahon with the snap, the quarterback going right. Now he decides to go back to his left, and he is hit, spins, goes down after a gain of close to 10 yards there. And the tackle for the Wildcats, well, I see an 18 making the tackle, but we don't have an 18 on the roster, so we'll have to check on that. And that is a first down for Mount Pleasant at the 36-yard line.
36 yards. They seem to be making it quite far. I hope the Wildcats can make a comeback.
All right, Cameron. So here's the snap to Mason McMahon. McMahon rolling out to his right under pressure and gets rid of it. And the pressure coming, as it has several times tonight, from Zach Thomas, senior defensive lineman for Sulphur Springs. So second down and 10 for the Wildcats. Boy, that first possession for Sulphur Springs looking good. They had driven to the Mount Pleasant 24-yard line before the fumble. And the recovery by Ashad Smith gives it back to Mount Pleasant.
They seem to be setting up, and we are waiting for the snap.
Second down and 10 for Mount Pleasant. McMahon in the shotgun takes the snap, fires it to the near side flat, and it is caught for Sulphur Springs by Dexter King.
I really thought 17 might have gotten away with it there.
Ty Bybee on the tackle for the Wildcats. So gain of, make it 4 yards to the 41-yard line. Let's say that's 5 yards to the 41, and it'll be now 2nd down and 5 for Mount Pleasant. Moving from left to right on the artificial turf. And McMahon passing over the middle and incomplete, intended for Dylan Bennett, who had the 36-yard touchdown pass reception in the first half. Incomplete, 3rd down and 5. So Cameron, big play here for both teams. Actually, did I say third? It's now, they show the 4th down marker over on the far side.
Yes.
So it will be 4th down. I was had it in my mind that was 2nd down and that we had 3rd down yet to go. So that was the 3rd down play. Now 4th down and 5. And that's good news for Sulphur Springs.
They seem to be making quite the comeback from the first quarter we had. Oh, and they catch it.
Here's the punt, and returned by Wyatt Watson for the Wildcats from the 20-yard line, across the 30, across the 35, out of bounds over on the far side at the 40-yard line or thereabouts. So punt return there for Watson of about 17 yards for Sulphur Springs.
That is an absolute horrible shame. To me, it looked like they were about to make it all the way.
40-yard line of the Wildcats, and Mount Pleasant leading 19-0 with 5:34 left to go in the 3rd period of play. And Wildcats with the possession for the 2nd time in the 3rd quarter, moved it from their own 39 to the Mount Pleasant 24 on that last drive in 9 plays, but then gave it up on a fumble. Brady Driver hands off to Cameron Joseph. Cameron Jefferson it is, and Jefferson going off tackle to the right, bounces outside, only for a couple of yards, however. And the tackle for the Wildcats, or tackle for the Tigers, made by Ashad Smith, who had that fumble recovery here just a short time ago. 2-yard gain for Cameron Jefferson. In last week's game, 9 carries for 44 yards and 4.9 yards per carry. 2nd down and 8 for the Sulphur Springs Wildcats. 5 minutes left to go, 3rd quarter. 19-0, Mount Pleasant ahead. And that was your score at halftime. Empty backfield now for Brady Driver, and he throws it out to Jefferson, who bobbles it and cannot catch it in the flat. And then one of the Wildcats picked it up, thought he might take it back to the goal line for 6 points, but it was an incomplete pass quite clearly. And so 3rd down and 8 now for Sulphur Springs.
There seems to be very little movement. Every time you think they're going to get past, they don't. Both Wildcats and the Mount Pleasant Tigers are working very hard, and it is a tight game.
It is 3rd down and 8 for Sulphur Springs. Need to get to the 50-yard line. Line of scrimmage is the 42 in Wildcat territory. Driver, the senior quarterback, passing over the middle and incomplete. In and out of the hands of Tristan Hankins for Sulphur Springs at the Mount Pleasant 40-yard line. And he had at least a couple of steps on the nearest Tiger, but could not pull it in. So it's 4th down and 8 for Sulphur Springs, down 19-0, and once again, it looks like the Wildcats will go for the 1st down here at their own 42-yard line.
It's been said many times, and I'll say it again, Sulphur Springs is on crunch time with this game.
Yep. And now Driver drops back a couple of steps, and he will quick kick it, so to speak. Nobody back for Mount Pleasant. And the roll for the Wildcats is not all that great, and it will be down at the 18-yard line. So they lined up to go for the 1st down, trailing 19-0. But as you know, that Brady Driver is the punter also for the Wildcats, and so in the shotgun formation, he dropped back another couple of steps and got away the punt to the 18-yard line. So for that particular punt, for Brady Driver, that's a 41-yard punt. Not bad. But Mount Pleasant has the ball back at their own 17-yard line, leading 19-0 with 4:33 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Mason McMahon hands it off. The running play between the tackles, short yardage. And this is the little fire plug Nick Cates, 200-pounders as a senior, across the 20 out to the 21-yard line for a gain of 4 yards. And it's, let's make it 3 yards, and it's second down and 7.
We are on our 4th down. The time is 4:05, and the score is still 19-0. Sulphur Springs is not letting Mount Pleasant get anywhere.
Pass out into the flat is complete. Across the 30 out to the 33-yard line. And that's going to be a first down for the Mount Pleasant Tigers. They keep the chains moving here. Gain of 12 yards on that play out into the near flat. And Mason McMahon remains hot, the senior quarterback for Mount Pleasant. McMahon in the shotgun. Hand off. Goes to Cates. Cates off right tackle. Nice gain there. And the tackle for Sulphur Springs is by T.J. Bolden, whose name we've said a lot tonight, sophomore linebacker. That's a gain of about 5 yards out to the 37-yard line.
5 yards. They're making a little bit of distance out there. Let's hope the Wildcats can make a huge comeback and get that score.
3:18 to go in the third quarter, and this third quarter is going by very quickly. And that is not to Sulphur Springs' liking, trailing 19-0. 2nd and 5, McMahon feeling the pressure as he rolls to his right, gets rid of it, throws it at the feet of Tony Grant, whose name we haven't said for a while, the running back for the Tigers. It's incomplete, and no thought of a grounding penalty there as McMahon was out of the pocket, and he did have Grant there. So this is 3rd down and 5 from the 37-yard line. Clock is stopped with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Still at 19-0. It has not budged a bit.
No. 19-0, Mount Pleasant leading. Snap to McMahon. He backpedals, going to run it up the middle, and will be short of the first down. He runs into the arms of 2 or 3 Sulphur Springs Wildcats. One of them in on that tackle was Truth Holmes, the sophomore defensive lineman. But it'll be 4th down and 2 for the Tigers as the gain is only to the 40-yard line. And another punting situation here for Mount Pleasant, which they're quite happy to continue to go in that fashion here in the third quarter with a 19-0 lead. No problem with the punt at all for the Tigers.
The receiver is going back to 30.
Gerardo Chavez is the punter, left footer. Gets it away and lands at the 25-yard line, takes a Mount Pleasant roll inside the 20 to the 16-yard line of the Tigers. So a nice job there by Gerardo Chavez, the punter for the Mount Pleasant Tigers. That will be a 41-yard punt for Mount Pleasant. So the teams have now traded punts on the last 3 possessions.
Wildcats starting at 16.
Yep. So Sulphur Springs deep in its own territory, trailing 19-0 with 2:11 left to go in the third quarter. And obviously, not telling you anything you don't know, Sulphur Springs got to get it going here if they're going to make a contest of this game. Beautiful full moon going up across the way over on the far side of the field here at Sam Parker Field in Mount Pleasant. Beautiful evening for football. D. Rose Luke on the handoff from Brady Driver. And Rose Luke out to about the 21-yard line for close to 5 yards on that gain. So again, that's a good start to the drive. You'll take 5 yards on first down every time. 2nd down and 5 for the Wildcats.
And what an amazing Hooten's Hardware first down, must I say. They are trying their absolute hardest to get as far as they can, but 7 does not seem to be wanting to let the ball go anywhere.
So that previous play was the first down play, and now this is 2nd down. Brady Driver, the senior quarterback, 5 yards deep behind Jeff Stevenson, the center. And again, the give up the middle to D. Rose Luke. And Luke looking for a blocker and not finding it, and has really nowhere to go, as he will be brought down at the 21-yard line for no gain. So this is 3rd down and 5 for the Wildcats at their own 21-yard line with 1 minute 3 left to go in the third quarter, trailing 19-0. Sulphur Springs had a couple of opportunities here in this game. They got as far as the Mount Pleasant 8-yard line in the first half, got pushed back to the 13, and then did not connect on a 30-yard field goal. That was really their best opportunity so far. 3rd and 5. Driver takes the snap, backpedals, throws to the right side, and it is incomplete at the 30-yard line, intended for Sky Lewis. Lewis pleading his case with the official over there, but to no avail. 4th down and 5 for the Wildcats at their own 21-yard line, trailing 19-0 with 38 seconds left to go in the third quarter. And so you would think there's really no other choice but what to punt here, but time is starting to get a bit short. Always hard to tell here with Driver, the punter, and the quarterback, and he's lining up as if they're going to go for the first down on this 4th down and 5. Flags come down, and that may be a delay of game. No, illegal procedure penalty against Sulphur Springs. Going to push them back another 5 yards to about the 16-yard line. They will go. And they are really rolling the bones in a big way here if they go for the first down. 4th and 10 at their own 16-yard line. Wildcats down 19-0. Driver looks as if he's going to go for the first down. Now he's got plenty of time on the play clock at 15. And he will punt from short punt formation. And really nobody back there for Mount Pleasant. It lands at the 42 and just almost sticks in that place on the artificial turf. So pretty good punt by Brady Driver.
At 27 seconds, still 19-0. We have not made much progress, but we are still counting on the Sulphur Springs Wildcats.
42-yard punt by Brady Driver. And the teams now have exchanged punts on the last 4 possessions here in the third quarter, which has gone by very fast. And 27 seconds remaining here in the third period, with Mount Pleasant leading over Sulphur Springs 19-0, and that was the score at halftime. No scoring at all here in the third quarter. Mount Pleasant at their own 42-yard line.
Speaking of fast, this whole game feels like a rush. Constantly changing where we are on the field. Absolutely no rhyme or reason, but it is a ball to watch.
First down for the Tigers. Mason McMahon will be the quarterback, the senior. He is 6'2", 170. And boy, did he put on a show in the first half for Mount Pleasant and last week against Pittsburgh. Ball on the far hash. They move from our left to our right on the artificial turf. McMahon on the rollout to the right side, feeling the pressure, and he will throw it away out of the pocket. And did have one receiver somewhat in the vicinity there. That's Jonathan Turner. But incomplete. Good pressure put on Mason McMahon by the Wildcat defense there. And so 2nd down and 10 at the 42-yard line.
And only 20 seconds remaining on the clock.
That's in the third quarter. So 12 minutes of football yet to go after the final 21 seconds of this quarter. 2nd down and 10, Mount Pleasant from their own 42-yard line. McMahon in the shotgun has a running back to his left, setting up the screen, and this is complete to Dylan Bennett, and Bennett into the open field. Bennett at the 20, at the 10, going to score for Mount Pleasant. 58-yard touchdown pass from Mason McMahon to Dylan Bennett. They connected for a 36-yard touchdown in the first half, and now Mount Pleasant up 25-0 with 8 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Screen pass to Bennett, and he caught it in space at about the 50-yard line and sprinted through the Wildcat tacklers down the near side all the way to the goal line.
You can tell Sulphur Springs is putting all they have into this game.
Extra point coming, and the kick up, and it is good. The kick by Gerardo Chavez. So with 8 seconds remaining in the third quarter, Mount Pleasant 26, Sulphur Springs nothing. And Wildcat football will continue after this on KSST. Moments ago, a 58-yard touchdown pass from Mason McMahon to Dylan Bennett. Most of it on the run by Bennett. And then the extra point good, so it is 26-0, Mount Pleasant.
One of the most impressive touchdowns I have ever seen.
Yeah. Well, he's got good speed, does Dylan Bennett, by the way. Last week against Pittsburgh, he caught 4 passes for 21 yards and a touchdown. Carried the ball one time for 12 yards, but that's nothing like what he's done tonight. He's got a 36-yard touchdown pass, which was the 3rd touchdown of the first half, and now he's got the 1st touchdown of the second half. The Mount Pleasant senior, 5'6", 170 pounds, Dylan Bennett. Ball teed up at the 40-yard line.
And there goes our J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff.
And here's the return for the Wildcats out across the 30-yard line. So reasonably good field position here for Sulphur Springs. On the return for the Wildcats, that time it was Alex King. So first down at the 30. And you like to think that even at 26-0 with basically a quarter to go, 1.5 seconds left in the third quarter, this will be the final play of the third period, that Sulphur Springs still got a shot here. But boy, it's a big hill to climb at 26-0.
Ah, they've got my money. I know Sulphur Springs, and if I know them well, they're going to win this.
Well, that's the spirit. So first down from the 30-yard line. Brady Driver in the shotgun has a man to his left, the running back, and that is Cameron Jefferson. They swing it out now to Wyatt Watson. And Watson in the flat on the near side. Jukes one defender across the 40. He goes to the 43-yard line for a gain of 13 yards. Wyatt Watson, one of the nicer offensive plays of the night for the Wildcats, who just simply have not really gotten it going somehow. And there was that drive in the first half when they were down 13-0 where it looked like they were getting back into it, but just hasn't happened. Just have looked disjointed on offense. So that is the end of the third quarter, 26-0, Mount Pleasant leading. This is Wildcats football on KSS2.
And we're back with Wildcat football here in Mount Pleasant. Wildcats having a tough time, down 26-0. Thanks to Cameron for sticking in for a little, sitting in for me for a little bit there. Here come the
first down on and the first play of the fourth quarter, and the handoff is to Cameron Jefferson for Sulphur Springs off left tackle. He's up to the 49-yard line, make it 48. And so that is a gain of 5 yards. It'll be second down and 5. They do give him the 49 after all, so that's a gain of 6, and it's second and 4.
Yeah, they converted the last play of the third quarter, and they just ran that Hootens Hardware first down, picking up 6 yards. Going to make it second and 4, and the Wildcats really need to make something happen here, John Mark.
Jeff Stevenson, the center, out over the football. This is second down and 5. The snap to Brady Driver, play action pass. Driver stepping up in the pocket, has Sky Lewis down the field, and he is literally tackled at the 30-yard line, and you don't get a more blatant pass interference call than that.
Oh, yeah, there's 2 flags on that play, so
they're going to penalize them twice.
Right. It was, I think our flag from up here made it all the way down there, but he just completely wrapped up the receiver there. The Tiger wrapped up the Wildcat and took him to the ground, and this is going to be a huge penalty against the Tigers, and going to be marked off way down the field here because they marked that from the point of impact.
You know, it wasn't like he was already a step or 2 beyond the defender, and that was the only choice he had. I thought he was fairly well covered, but for whatever reason, the defender, they were just not taking any chances.
Yeah, the ball wasn't even halfway down there.
Yeah.
It was just wrapped him up. So the ball moves all the way down. Let's see, they're going to mark it at the Tiger 36-yard line. Yeah, 36-yard line, and so it's going to be first and 10 on Hootens Hardware first 10 for your Wildcats as they're trying to get down the field and put any points on the board.
3 men wide to the near side, 1 to the far side as they move from our left to right, and Driver throwing for Sky Lewis at the 10-yard line, in and out of his hands, but another flag is down.
Yeah, some pretty good coverage there, but I think he got a hand on him, and They're going to call pass interference on that too, and the defender down on the ground, not getting up for the Tigers. So trainers running out on the field. We're going to take an injury timeout here, James. The Wildcat football will continue in a minute here on KSST. 11:05 left in this ball game. The Tigers 26, Wildcats 0. We'll take an injury timeout and be right back. Tiger defender that was injured on that play makes his way off the field under his own power there, and so the Wildcats picking up another first down way down into Tiger territory on the 21-yard line after that second pass interference penalty.
2 consecutive first downs for Sulphur Springs on pass interference calls.
That's a double Hooten's Hardware first down. Hooten's Hardware, Embry, Texas, they're more than just nuts and bolts.
Snap to Brady Driver, play action. Moving in the pocket and going to keep it himself. Goes down the sideline on the far side, turns it upfield, and another flag down as he is bumped out of bounds inside the 10-yard line.
You say bumps, John Mark. I say he ran into a brick wall, but it didn't faze Brady Driver. He was running like a running back there and just stood up that defender. And he went out of bounds. I'm not sure what the penalty is, but the striped shirts are getting together for a little conference there, and looks like we're going to have a timeout on the Tiger side of the field.
Personal foul against Mount Pleasant. I wonder if that was a late hit out of bounds.
Yeah, he may have already been out of bounds, and things getting a little tense here.
Half the distance to the goal puts it at the 4-yard line.
They're going to take a quick break. We're going to take a break with them. Right back in just a moment with Wildcat football on KSST. Hey, we're back here in Mount Pleasant, Wildcat football. The Wildcats down, unfortunately, 26-0 as Tigers have taken a timeout. The Wildcats are moving down the field. Been a couple of tense plays, and with some that turned out pretty well for the Wildcats as the Tigers have committed a couple of pass interference. And and then there was a personal foul that after Brady Driver ran the ball, and now they're all the way down on the 4-yard line. It's first and goal for this Hooten's Hardware first down for your Wildcats. 4-yard line.
So big opportunity here for Sulphur Springs. Really need to put it across the goal line, down 26-0. Still early in the fourth quarter, and this is Brady Driver driving at the goal line, touchdown.
And he puts it in for 6 points as Northeast Texas Farmers Co-op says, way to go Wildcats. Brady Driver on the keeper, taking it in, putting 6 points on the board. 26-6. Wildcats are way down on this one, but see if they're going to go for the 2-point conversion here or kick the ball. Do you see our favorite kicker, Mr. Rodriguez, out there?
There's some change of personnel happening here. Now they're moving the ball, looks like, to the far hash mark, so I think Sulphur Springs is going to go for 2.
Might as well. They're down and need to get some 2-point conversion practice in here in game time, and that's what they're going to do. Brady Driver in. 10:51 left in the ball game.
Wildcats going for 2, down 29-6. Passing and complete to Sky Lewis. 26-6, I should have said. Now 26-8 is Sky Lewis with that back shoulder catch. Beautifully thrown ball by Brady Driver. Now 26-8. The Wildcats down with 10:51 to go.
Wildcats finally on the board. We're going to take a break as they get ready to kick off for the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff here. Wildcat football continues on KSST. Back with Wildcat football here in Mount Pleasant. Wildcats down 26-8, getting ready to kick off that J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff after that Brady Driver run into the end zone and that 2-point conversion for the Wildcats, putting 8 points on the board. Eric Rodriguez teeing up that ball on the 40-yard line as standard procedure there for a kickoff after the touchdown, and everyone in the stadium here looking for an onside kick, including those of us here in the KSST booth. Yeah.
So they've got 10 men within 10 yards of the 50-yard line. Here is a diagonal kick that will come down at the 20-yard line and a fair catch taken at that point. So I think with Mount Pleasant absolutely ready for that, I think this is probably the wiser thing to do. And fair catch taken by Braylon Smith from Mount Pleasant.
Yes, and the odd thing about that is that there wasn't anybody 15 yards from that young man when he called for the fair catch and caught that ball. But
yeah, that's a
either
good
way,
point.
he may have may have been the play call on the Tigers side of the ball. So the Tigers are going to come out, and they're going to be on the 25-yard line here to start their 1st and 10, and they're going to try to march on down the field, put some points on the board. If they do, that may close out this ball game for the Wildcats are concerned. But Wildcat defense out there trying to make something happen and put a stop to the Mount Pleasant Tigers.
Mason McMahon has a low snap, takes it in, will run it himself off the left side. McMahon crossed the 30 up to about the 38-yard line for a gain of about 8 yards. 33, did I say 38? 33-yard line.
Yes, that's that gain of 8, like you say, and that big play for them. A couple of first down conversions, and
now what Sulphur Springs really needs is a turnover.
Absolutely.
Fumble recovery, interception. Now, and you're going to see Mount Pleasant going to try to keep the ball on the ground as much as they can.
They sure are. So it's going to be a lot of run the clock out and.
Second down and 2, handoff, and this one breaks big for Mount Pleasant. This is Tony Grant, whose name we haven't said since the first quarter. He's across the 50 and all the way into Sulphur Springs territory at about the 30-yard line.
Well, if it wasn't for number 12 there on the Wildcats who took him down on that near side of the field, he was going to make that into the end zone. So
that was Braxton Wall who made the tackle.
Yes, he did a great job. But huge play for those Tigers, and they've switched ends of the field and just one play. They're all the way down on the 30-yard line in Wildcat territory, so it's 1st and 10 for your Mount Pleasant Tigers there. Wildcats really need to provide some defense starting now. 36-yard
gain on that play. McMahon in the shotgun, backpedaling into the end zone, and B.J. Brennan with a leaping catch. Touchdown, Mount Pleasant.
Yes.
Wow.
That was a fantastic catch. You cannot take that away from that young man, as he pulled it in right at the edge of the end zone and put 6 more points on the board for the Tigers. 32-8 over the Wildcats, pending the extra point try here. So that's going to just about put it away for your Wildcats, I'm afraid. The Wildcats can still come back and put some points on the board, but it's going to be a deficit here. Could be just too much. They're going to go for the extra point trying.
Gerardo Chavez with the extra point kick, and it is good. 33-8 Mount Pleasant, 9:21 left to go in the ball game. And this is Wildcats football on KSST.
We'll take a break and be back with you in just a moment. And we're back, Wildcat football here in Mount Pleasant. The Wildcat faithful fans still filling the stands over there on the far side of the field. John Mark as the Wildcats line up, moving left to right here, back to receive the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff. Unfortunately, that means the Mount Pleasant Tigers have put some more points on the board. 25-point deficit with 9:21 left in the ball game. It's going to be a tough battle here for those Wildcats, I'm afraid.
That touchdown catch a moment ago by B.J. Brannon, a leaping catch at the corner of the end zone near the goal line, just inside the pylon. He is a freshman. 5'7", 163-pound freshman, had 3 catches for 39 yards last week against Pittsburgh. I think this is his first catch tonight. Might have had 1 catch for a short gain in the first half, but nothing like that. Spectacular catch. 30-yard touchdown pass from Mason McMahon, who has, I believe, I'll count it, but I believe it's 4 touchdown passes tonight. And here's the return for Sulphur Springs out to the 23-yard line.
Number 7 on the return there for the Wildcats.
And that's Jackson Hare.
Didn't get much yardage there, but made it up to about the 25-yard line, and that's going to start the first and 10 for the Wildcats. We're going to see some fast-paced offense from the Wildcats, I would bet. They're going to mark that at about the 24-yard line, and they'll give the Wildcats 76 yards to go to put some points on the board. 9:14 left in the ball game. Wildcats down 33-8, and coming up to the line of scrimmage for this new drive.
Mason McMahon, 3 touchdown passes and 2 touchdowns rushing for Mount Pleasant tonight. On first down, here's a pass now to Sky Lewis, and there goes Sky Lewis at the 50, at the 30, down the near sideline, 20, 10, touchdown Sky Lewis.
Oh, what a fantastic play. And within 20 seconds, they run one play and make it all the way down to the correct side of the field in the end zone for 6 points on the board for the Wildcats, as Northeast Texas Farmers Co-op says, way to go Wildcats, and scored 33-14. And we're going to see another 2-point conversion here, John Mark. Try a 2-point conversion.
I think to me you're too far away to go chasing points at this particular point. I probably would not, but they've got a chart for that, Chad, and it may be that the chart says go for 2.
Right.
And that's a 77-yard touchdown pass from Brady Driver to Sky Lewis. They connected twice last week for TD passes against Jacksonville, but I think the longest was 31 yards. So here's the 2-point conversion. Tight formation for the Wildcats.
Right.
Snap to Driver. Driver over the left side, lowers his shoulder.
Guess what?
And he has got it.
Yep, he is in, and 2 points more for the Wildcats. So that's going to make it a 33-16 ball game here. Now 17-point difference with 9:01 left. I'm kind of selling them out there on that, saying they were running out of time, and they put some points on the board quickly. But we'll take a break, and we'll be back with the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff here in just a moment. And we're back with Wildcat football here in Mount Pleasant. The Sulphur Springs Wildcats put some points on the board, 16-33. 2 touchdowns, 2-point conversions. John Mark, that's a great stat right there for them. 2 out of 2 on the 2-point conversions, and Eric Rodriguez is lining up the ball. I'm just really hoping. I really like the onside kick, though. That's just me. So, but the Tigers are prepared for it. They've got a few guys back, but not deep. Eric Rodriguez can really boot this ball, and it looks like he's going to do so.
Rodriguez with the deep kick. It will be taken at the 6-yard line, but a fair catch called for. But there is a rule that came in a while back that allows you to do that, and basically they treat it as a touchback.
Yeah, so that fair catch, again, even though no one was within 20 yards of him that time, and he fielded that all the way back on the 10, or was it even the 5? I
think I had it at the 6.
6-yard line, he fielded that, but with the fair catch call, they're going to move that up to the 25-yard line, giving the Mount Pleasant Tigers first and 10 on their own 25-yard line, which is average starting place for them. 9:01 left in the ball game. Wildcats down 33-16.
Of course, there's no risk of a fumble when you fair catch.
Right.
You can be sure of having reasonably good field position at the 25-yard line. Teams have scored on the last 4 possessions. Now it is Mount Pleasant at a low snap to McMahon. McMahon gets it out to Barksdale in the flat on a quick pass and a bubble screen, and Barksdale works his way down the sideline up to the 39-yard line for a first down for Sulphur Springs. That's a gain of 14 yards.
We have about 8 Wildcats in with an assist on that tackle. They all got in on that one, but to no avail. That's going to be a first down for the Tigers. First and 10 on their own 39-yard line.
So 33-16.
8:30 and counting in the ball game.
17-point margin for Mount Pleasant. With 8 minutes to go, unless the Tigers turn the ball over, and probably more than once, Wildcats looking at a really steep hill to climb here as running play on first down between the tackles for a moderate pickup, and that is Nick Cates, whose name we've called a number of times, toting the ball for the Tigers tonight. Picks up 4 yards to the 43-yard line.
Yes, they're trying to get into Wildcat territory. They just get beyond the first down marker, and they will be across the 50-yard line. But Wildcat defense trying to hold them back and trying to turn that ball over and put some more points on the board.
That's what Sulphur Springs has to have if they've got any chance of getting back into it. There's McMahon in the shotgun taking the snap, throwing to Barksdale. Barksdale sidesteps a tackler and then darts into Sulphur Springs territory to about the 48-yard line. That'll be another first down for Mount Pleasant.
Yes, they cross the 50-yard line. They're in Wildcat territory now, and that puts another first down up for the Tigers and takes some more time off of the clock as it's 7:22 and counting here.
Kind of surprised to see them passing as much as they are, but these are very conservative passes, and they treat it almost like a running game.
Yep.
1st and 10. Sulphur Springs 48-yard line. McMahon, this time they will run it, and off left tackle it goes, and a pretty good gain here for Mount Pleasant. Again, 3 or 4 or 5 Sulphur Springs tacklers required to bring the ball carrier down.
Or 9.
And the last man to get up off the pile for Sulphur Springs, Grayson Hardy, sophomore defensive back. That was Nick Cates again for Mount Pleasant on the gain to the Sulphur Springs 35-yard line. So that's a gain of 13 yards.
Yeah, it's certainly enough for a first down as he gave that second, third, and fourth effort there, carrying several Wildcats more than 10 yards that he needed to get across the line for a first down, and they're going to be snapping the ball in the Wildcat 35.
Clock rolling with 6.5 minutes to go. McMahon, whoa, hands off, and the back is hit hard in the backfield for Sulphur Springs. That's Cates, and making the tackle there.
Yep,
and that is
32.
a form tackle by T.J. Bolden, whose name we've said quite a bit tonight.
Yes, he wrapped him up and took him to the ground, bounced up, and was walking away back to the Wildcat side of the ball before that running back even knew what had hit him.
He put his face mask between the numbers and put his back on the ground.
Yes.
That was a form tackle.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. 3rd and 12 now is it 2nd and 12? 2nd and 12 for Mount Pleasant. Pass to the flat. Again, a little bubble screen here to Kedrian Barksdale, who gets down to the 30-yard line for a gain of 7 yards.
Yes, they're marching down the field, but they lost a little bit, and it's going to make it another 5 yards to go. So the scoreboard's going to call it 6. I'm going to call it 5. 3rd and 5 here, 5:30 left in the ball game. Wildcats need to stop.
Mason McMahon in the shotgun, backpedaling, looking downfield, moving in the pocket, has time to throw, and finally gets rid of it
There's a
out
flag
to the sideline.
Flag on the play. A lot of movement on that play. They let the play run, so you'd think it's
there was some movement, at the line of scrimmage.
Be it offside.
I still haven't spotted the flag.
Yeah, it's down here. You just picked it up down here on the near side.
Okay.
That's going to be against the Wildcats. It's going to be offside. So that's going to give them a first down. They're going to move up to the 25-yard line. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Mount Pleasant Tigers. And the Wildcats running out of time here is 5:19 left in the ball game, down 17 points. 33s is 16. I don't know what your chart says on that, but it's hard to get 17 points and a couple of scores, even with 2-point conversions.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ball on the near hash as they move right to left. And handoff. And the carry over the left side is by Nick Cates, and he gets a couple of yards or so and is met by 3 or 4 Wildcat tacklers at the 23-yard line for a gain of 2.
The Wildcats kept them to minimal yardage on that, but unfortunately the clock is still running, under 5 minutes left to play. So
both teams have all 3 timeouts, and you may start to see Sulphur Springs utilize some of those timeouts soon.
Yes.
Snap to Mason McMahon, handoff to Tony Grant. Grant trying to pick his way as he goes between the tackles, and there's just not much there for him.
Bring up a 3rd down and long situation for the Mount Pleasant Tigers. 4:25 and counting left on the clock. They're taking their time getting back up to the line of scrimmage, trying to take as much time off the clock as possible. And the The Wildcats saving face by putting 16 points on the board, but it's not enough so late in the second half.
3rd and 7 play here for Mount Pleasant at the Sulphur Springs 23-yard line. Mason McMahon in the shotgun, backpedals, finds a man coming across the middle. It is caught, and that is Dylan Bennett for his 3rd touchdown of the night. Bennett moving from left to right, caught the ball in stride at about the 15-yard line, took it all the way to the far side, turned to the goal line, and scores standing up for the Tigers.
Yes, unfortunately, that's going to be very bad news for your Wildcats as they are really going to. They haven't put the points on the board yet. I don't know what the discussion is out there, John Mark, but.
Oh, no, there's a penalty here against Mount Pleasant.
Yep.
I believe holding.
Well, that's going to push it back. No harm, no foul, no points, though. I can tell you that.
Would have been a 22-yard touchdown pass from Mason McMahon to Dylan Bennett.
So they're going to move that one back. Let's see, it was 3rd and 7, I believe, and mark off that penalty from the place at where it happened, and they've moved the chains on up to the 14-yard line. They're going to call it 1st and 10 on the.
Must have been a holding call down the field, Chad, near the goal line, because it is 1st down at the 12-yard line. Tony Grant takes the handoff from McMahon straight ahead, and nothing there for him. On the tackle for Sulphur Springs, Alex McCormick, who had a big sack on a blitz late last week against Jacksonville, sophomore linebacker for the Wildcats. So the clock continuing to roll with 3:12 left to go.
Yep.
And Sulphur Springs got a break here a moment ago and had the touchdown to Bennett called back. 10 seconds. That actually goes as a loss back to the 14-yard line, that previous play.
Play clock at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They barely get the play off.
McMahon on this 2nd down and 12 play, scrambling in the backfield, looking across the middle, passing, and complete inside the 5-yard line. And that goes to Nick Cates. Now, did he lose the ball, and did the Wildcats come up with a fumble recovery here? Ball was fumbled and went into the end zone for a touchback.
Wow. Well, lucky.
And Sulphur Springs recovered in the end zone.
They'll get that back on the 20.
That's right.
Yes, on the touchback here with the turnover of the ball. So lucky break for the Wildcats. They're going to get the ball on their own 20-yard line. 2:39 left in the ball game. The Wildcats down 17 points. The Wildcats 16, the Tigers 33. So it's going to be crunch time for your Wildcats. They're going to be coming up to the line of scrimmage and starting their 1st and 10 on the 20, like we said, and see if the Wildcats can make something happen. 17 points down, 2 minutes, 39 seconds left in the ball game. A tough hill to climb.
Play action pass. Brady Driver setting up in the pocket. Now coming out to the right side, still looking to throw and passing at incomplete, and had his eyes there on Iverson Irvine.
Yeah, and the Wildcat was hurt on the play there, so they're going to take an injury timeout after that incomplete pass. It's going to be 2nd down. We come back. We've got an injury timeout here at Wildcat football here on KSST. We'll be back in a moment. And Wildcat football continues here in Mount Pleasant as the injured player popped right back up and is going to stay in the ball game, actually. So the Wildcats extreme deficit of 17 points, 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. Incomplete pass on that 1st down run, or 1st down try, and so it's going to be 2nd down and 10. They're backed up on their own 20-yard line.
Jeff Stevenson at center out over the football for Sulphur Springs. Driver passing for Jackson Hare, incomplete at the 34-yard line. He was hit hard just as the ball reached his hands.
Yeah, kind of in and out of his hands there because he got hit. Very good coverage by the Mount Pleasant Tiger defender. That's going to make it 3rd and long for your Wildcats. The clock 6 seconds clicked off during that last play with the incomplete pass. The clock has stopped. 2:24 left in the ball game.
You know, Chad, you make a great point. At a 17-point lead, that's a 3-possession game.
It is.
If it's 16 points, well, you got to see a little glimmer of hope.
They've already done that.
At 17, there's one more possession and one more score that you've got to get.
No matter what. So, and a timeout's being called by the Wildcats. They're going to discuss this one. A very important play, 3rd and long. We're going to take a break with them. We'll be back in just a moment. And we're back in Mount Pleasant. The Wildcats trying to make something here at the end of this ball game. Maybe trying to save face. Let's be honest, John Mark. They're trying hard, and they've put 16 points on the board here in this second half by scoring 2 touchdowns and making 2 2-point conversions. But it's just not going to be enough for this ball game. I'm not trying to be negative, just trying to be realistic. Down 33-16, 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the ball game. Wildcats taking a timeout on their 3rd down because it's 3rd and 10. They're trying to make something happen, move it on down the field. I'm guessing pass on this play, but who knows what Brandon Faircloth has up his sleeve for Brady Driver as he takes the field and tries to make something out of this. 2:24 left in the ball game.
3rd down and 10 play from the 20-yard line. Driver in the shotgun, back pedals, passes, complete close to the 30-yard line to Jackson Hare, and I think that is going to be a first down.
It is. The officials waving the sticks in the direction that we want, and that's going to be another Hooten's Hardware first down for your Wildcats as they move up to the 30-yard line and right back up on the ball to make the next play.
2 men wide left, 2 men wide right, play action pass. Driver throwing deep for Sky Lewis. He's got him inside Mount Pleasant territory at about the 32-yard line. About
a 40-yard pass there. It's going to be 38, I believe. But they're moving the ball quickly as the clock continues. Well, they stopped the clock to move the chains, and now they've started the clock again, 1:55 and counting. Wildcats moving all the way down to the Tiger 32-yard line for the Hooten's Hardware first down.
You're right, 38-yard gain on the play to Sky Lewis, who had the 77-yard touchdown pass a short time ago. Driver throwing down the left side. Contact incomplete as they go down the sideline, but there's a flag down.
Yes, I think the yellow flag made it there before the ball did. The defender all over that Wildcat. The Wildcats came up to the ball very quickly, snapped that play, threw the ball, and the Tigers were just not ready, and so that defender draped all over the Wildcat receiver, and that's going to be 15 yards or spot of the foul or...
It's a 15-yard penalty, of course, automatic first down, and just waiting for the indication here. Oh, we have a holding call against Sulphur Springs and a holding call against Mount Pleasant on this play.
So those offset.
Yeah, they called it holding and not pass interference on Sky Lewis there, but also a holding call against the Wildcats, so offsetting penalties, so we just do the play over at the 32-yard line. Driver back to throw, but you hear whistles, I think, at least I hear whistles, that the play is stopped.
They stopped that, so the last play, no harm, no foul, but time goes off the clock too, 1 minute and 38 seconds. The Wildcats down on the 32-yard line of the Tigers, trying to make something happen, put some more points on the board to save face at this point, and it looks like we've got a timeout.
Okay, so Mount Pleasant must have called timeout just before the snap. That's why they blew the whistles there. There was no penalty, so Mount Pleasant takes a timeout, and
we're going to take a timeout with them. We'll be back with Wildcat football here in just a moment. And we're back here in Mount Pleasant. Wildcat football continues. A pretty exciting game, but the time is ticking away with only a little over a minute and a half left in the ball game. I don't like when they use this game clock for the timeout clock because it's counting down 6:54, and that's not the amount of time left in the game. I'm going to tell you in 1 second that there's a minute and 38 seconds left in the ball game as the Wildcats are trying to put a few more points on the board. First down.
Yes, first out, there's been so much has transpired. The last play was that 38-yard pass to Sky Lewis, the last official play. That seems like a long time ago. Driver passing over the middle for Jackson Hare off his fingertips. The pass was too tall at the 15-yard line, so it's incomplete at a minute 32.
Quite an arm on that driver. Brady Driver's got quite an arm. He missed that ball. It's got a lot of heat on it.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, and just in and out of the hands of Hare, you said?
That's right.
Yeah, and so it goes bouncing off into the end zone and stops the clock, though. Minute 32 left in the ball game.
Wildcats down 33-16 to Mount Pleasant with 1:32 left to go in the ball game. And at one point, this was a 26-0 game. Now here's the second down, I should say, pass over the middle and batted away by one of the Tiger defenders there. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
I think he had 2 chances to intercept that. He got his hand on it, came out, and he dove after it, and it got off of his fingertips. So that Tiger defender almost picking off that ball twice in one play. Minute 25 left in the ball game. 3rd and 10. This is going to be 4th down territory for your Wildcats, of course. It still shows 3 timeouts on either side.
I don't think they have done a particularly
great job on the
scrupulous job of keeping up with the timeouts.
And we're not picking on them. It's just it's a tough job. So.
Driver takes the snap on the rollout, coming to the near side, passing. He's got Jackson Hare at the 20-yard line. Hare inside the 10, brought down at about the 6-yard line. 1st and goal for Sulphur Springs.
He pops up and gets over to the line of scrimmage because the clock is still running. They're going to stop that while they move the chains and set the ball and start the clock up again. Minute 13, 12, 11 ticking down, and so it looks like the Wildcats, you'd think they'd take a timeout here and get reset.
26 yards on the gain to Jackson Hare, the sophomore receiver for the Wildcats. 1st and goal, 3 wideouts far left, 1 to the near side, and Driver spreads out the field and on the run to the left, cuts it back, dives to the 1-yard line.
Yes, Brady Driver trying to make something happen there as the clock is under a minute 40. It's actually 40 seconds and counting down.
And quarterback sneak, touchdown, Brady Driver for Sulphur Springs.
They get up to the line of scrimmage and make it snap the ball, and Brady Driver takes it on in as Northeast Texas Farmers Co-op says, way to go Wildcats, as they put 6 more points on the board. Trying to save face, like I said, the score 22-33 with some kind of extra point try pending. 2-point conversion really doesn't matter here, but maybe they want to practice it again. John Mark, they were a 2 for 2. Why not make it 3 for 3 here on the practice? So 40 seconds exactly left on the clock, and they're going to go for 2 points.
Driver's 2nd touchdown rushing of the night. Now he has 4 for the season. Now Driver takes the snap, rolling out, passing. It is intercepted. This is a live ball coming back the other way, and the Mount Pleasant Tiger can take it all the way back for 2 points, and it appears that he will.
Yes, Wildcat defender trying to catch him, but just not going to make it, and they're going to run it all the way back on the 2-point conversion to give the Tigers 2 points. That's going to make it a 35-22 ball game, and no time expired off of that extra point try. So still 40 seconds on the clock there. And tell me now, John Mark, who kicks off?
Well, Sulphur Springs kicks off.
Yes, exactly, because we made the touchdown but failed at the 2-point conversion.
That's right.
And but even though the Tigers scored on that, the Wildcats will be kicking off the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff in just a moment.
Mackay Grant it was, 5'11", 175-pound senior, and I'm going to call that a return of 95 yards.
Yes, of course the tight formation there, and a good try by the Wildcats trying to get their 3 for 3 on the 2-point conversion, passing it on in, but it getting intercepted right there at the goal line, and that Mount Pleasant Tiger defender taking it 95 yards to the house there. So Eric Rodriguez coming out to kick off for the last time here, the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff of this game. This, 102-year rivalry that exists between the Sulphur Springs Wildcats and the Mount Pleasant Tigers, with the Wildcats winning 37 of those 73 games, we said, because they play. Wildcats won 37, the Tigers won 35, and they've tied once many years ago. So it looks like right now that record's going to go to 37, 36, and 1. Yep. So still the rivalry stays strong. Just a few miles away between Sulphur Springs and Mount Pleasant. So the Mount Pleasant fans pretty strong here in the stadium. Dedicated Wildcat fans still over there on the visitor side. They're taking plenty of time here to kick this off. The Tigers not taking the field yet, still having a conference with their coach over there. Not sure, it's just a kickoff. I'm not sure what they're telling them down there. That, by the way, the ball's going to be coming through the air, and you may want to catch it.
By the way, the Tigers at home for the first time this season next Friday night against the Hallsville Bobcats at Gerald Prim Stadium. And, in fact, Sulphur Springs will be at home the next two Friday nights, as after that they host Van Alstyne on September 15th. So the next two Friday nights are home football nights in Sulphur Springs.
And we hope that you're tuning in or just join us at the game. Nothing more exciting than live Wildcat football. And so should have some pretty decent weather those nights as well. Here comes the kickoff, the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff, Eric Rodriguez.
And Mount Pleasant has 10 men within 10 yards of the football here, and a onside kick goes out of bounds over on the far side. One of the Mount Pleasant Tigers tried to dive on it, and it just bounced away from him, but it kept on going over the sideline, so the ball will go to Mount Pleasant.
And the Wildcat special teams, number 6 was the closest man to it, but he just could not quite get to that ball before it went out of bounds. It went through a couple of Mount Pleasant Tiger defenders there, and they just didn't get a hand on it. You expect them to get a hand on it and pop it up, know, but they didn't. So the Tigers will start their drive. 39.1 seconds left in the ball game. They're going to be on their own 30s. No, that's going to be the 43-yard line.
They say the 46-yard line. By the way, it's an 80-yard drive for Sulphur Springs, that last drive in 8 plays. They had the 38-yard pass to Sky Lewis and a 26-yard pass to Jackson Hare. And finally, Brady Driver, the 1-yard run on a quarterback sneak. And then Mackay Grant intercepts and returns it for 2 points for Mount Pleasant on the Sulphur Springs 2-point conversion. Snap to Mason McMahon. He takes it and puts his knee down, and that'll be the final play. So they'll run out the clock here.
Yes,
and it'll be a 35-22 Mount Pleasant win over the Sulphur Springs Wildcats tonight.
Yes, good hard-fought battle by your Sulphur Springs Wildcats in this non-district game. But we'll have 5 non-district games. This is the second one. Then we'll have 5 district ball games as we're in a smaller district this year. Wildcats will be at home next week at Gerald Prim Stadium. But this is going to do it for that one. It's 0-0 on the scoreboard as the Wildcats go down 35-22 to the Mount Pleasant Tigers.
And I can tell you that Brandon Faircloth will make the point that this was a non-district game.
Yes, absolutely.
This is a game they are preparing for district play.
Yes.
And they treat it that way, and they want to win every game without a doubt. But they're going to look at this as a learning experience, and their clock is set to start ticking in a serious way on October 6th when they play at Community, and that's the first district game.
But some good plays in this game, some good performances by Brady Driver, Malachi Rowland, the Hare receiver, Jason Hare, and but just the Wildcats just came up short, so that's going to do it for this game here in Mount Pleasant. Thank everybody that tuned in and everybody that helped us put this on the air. John Mark Dempsey with our play-by-play. I'm Chad Young. younger color commentary person. We had Matt Jansen on the camera, as well as Natalie Sheffield running the camera, doing a great job. And then, of course, my man Cameron Faust filled in for me a little bit on the headset as well, doing some color commentary. And the ever-popular James Terry back in our studio, making it all happen, keeping us on the air. We appreciate you tuning in, and we hope to see you here next week at Gerald Prim Stadium. Tune us in 12:30 a.m. KSST for Wildcat football. Back to you, James.